opinions expressed by the guests, listeners, and hosts of any program on WURD Radio do not necessarily reflect those of ownership, management, or advertisers of this station.
Get up on out the bed and start to move your balls. Wake up with WURD and Solomon Jones. WURD. You better wake up now.
You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there. You can feel it.
Get up on out the bed and start to move your balls. Wake up with WURD and Solomon Jones. WURD. You better wake up now.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Wake Up with WURD. Well, it is New Year's Eve. Hopefully you got your black eyed peas in the pot. You got your greens in the other one. You got your good luck. You got your money. You got your tradition. And we are looking forward to a new year coming this evening. We got a whole lot to talk about, man, including the fact that Marianne from Gilligan's Island has died from complications from COVID-19. She was in her 80s, and so that is nostalgia, man, and we will certainly miss her and all of the people who have passed away in 2020 as a result of COVID-19, up in the 330,000 range now. And you know, we have to do what we have to do, man, in order to keep ourselves safe in 2021. And you know what? As 2020 comes to an end, I realize that there's never been a year like this. I watched my daughter's high school graduation on a computer screen in our living room. She watched it in her cap and gown, bought a prom dress she never wore, and got a yearbook 6 months after the school year ended. For me, that would have been heartbreaking, but kids are resilient. And in a year when all of us have lived through an unprecedented mess, I've learned something from watching young people. I've learned that we can adjust to whatever the world throws at us as long as we learn to be flexible, as long as we don't take anything for granted, as long as we believe in ourselves, and as long as we trust that God will work it out. There's something about the optimism of youth that says everything is going to be all right. Through COVID and racism, through injustice and hate, with corruption in the White House and black people in the poorhouse, everything's going to be all right because tomorrow is coming. And tomorrow's bigger and brighter and more promising than anything we've ever seen. And so as we prepare to step into a better tomorrow, we should all adopt the optimism of youth. An optimism that says no matter what comes down the pike, we'll laugh through it and cry through it and rise through it and live through it and get through it, and we'll be all right. Because tomorrow, when the first sun of 2021 rises in the sky, we as a people will rise right along with it. We got a hot show for you today on Wake Up with WURD. Lawyer Kevin Mincy on your legal rights when Karen attacks political commentator Jay McCalla on the foolery going on in Washington, D.C. and beyond. Plus, my pastor, Reverend Dr. Larry L. Anderson Jr. talks hope for the new year. And as always, we've got you, our listeners, calling in at 215-634-8065, a toll-free 1-866-361-0900. Hit us on Twitter and Instagram at onWURD, or you can hit me personally at Solomon Jones 1. Watch us on Facebook at ForWord. But first, it's the big three, the news stories you need to know to kick off your day right here on Wake Up with WURD. Story number one, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell doesn't want you to have more money. He rejected a bill to increase direct payments to $2,000, likely closing the door on any pathway to passage before the end of the Congress this weekend. McConnell took to the Senate floor to attack the House-passed bill, specifically on the issue of higher-income individuals and couples that would be eligible to receive some of the payments due to how the income phase-outs are structured. The Kentucky Republican said the House bill had no realistic path to quickly pass the Senate and said the Democratic-led effort ran astray of what President Donald Trump, who's repeatedly pressured Republicans to pass the expanded stimulus checks, actually requested. So he claims, look, you know, the president actually wanted us to do three things. He wanted us to increase the checks to $2,000. He wanted us to slam social media companies, and he wanted us to start an investigation into the 2020 election. And you know what, man? Don't nobody care about that other stuff. People care about the money. And the deep thing is this, right? He's like locked in this battle with Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders still in the Senate. So Bernie Sanders took to the floor. He said, you know what? 10 of the poorest 25 counties in the United States is in Kentucky, the state that you represent, Mitch McConnell. So why don't you go and tell your people that you're supposed to represent, tell them why you don't want to give them more money. Tell them why they can't have their own money back. Tell them why you don't want to help them step out of poverty for just a minute. Tell them why you're doing this foolishness. And I was there for it, man. I loved what Bernie Sanders had to say on that issue because he's right. And here's the other thing, man. Mitch McConnell has been really hurting the people of Kentucky for years. You know, he refused to accept the Medicaid expansion, for Kentucky, right? Him and the rest of these cats down there, right? The governor and all of them, right? They colluded to make sure that, people in Kentucky didn't get all that they could get out of Obamacare. Like, that's what they do to people. And here's the thing. I'm trying to understand this. Why do poor people vote Republican? I'm trying to understand it. I'm trying to understand, okay, so y'all think it's the party of white people, whatever. Okay, you're poor. They don't care about you. And this proves it again and again and again and again and again. And so I can't wait to see what happens January 5th when Republicans have to vote and have to run for the Senate in Georgia, having not passed this $2,000 for these people. You're going to go down there and be like, yeah, well, I was for it. Well, it doesn't matter if you were for it. I don't have it. So you being for it really didn't matter. And I don't think you were for it anyway. I can't wait to see what happens in Georgia. Because here you are screwing people out of this $2,000 that people really need. I'm talking about people in long food lines, man, all across the country, lining up in cars for food. I've never seen anything like this in my life, and it ain't like I only been here for 20 years. This is crazy, which brings me to story number 2. Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Krasner's office said yesterday that a lack of witnesses appearing in court has been the biggest reason some illegal gun possession cases have failed to end with a conviction over the last several years, a trend some have blamed for skyrocketing gun violence in the city. Still, in written testimony submitted to members of City Council, Krasner said that staffers who studied about 400 such cases found that those issues had been generally steady since at least 2016, leaving them unable to say why more gun-related prosecutions were being withdrawn or dismissed during Krasner's administration than during his predecessors. We continue to analyze what drove a higher dismissal rate and withdrawal rate in 2018 and 2019, says the testimony, a copy of which Krasner's office shared with the Inquirer. So about half the study's cases, both pre and post Krasner's arrival, were tossed primarily due to witnesses not showing up, according to the testimony. About a quarter failed due to weak evidence. And so here's what's happening in Philadelphia, right? They trying to blame Larry Krasner because gun violence is going up. It's Larry Krasner's fault. I think that's nonsense. And I'm going to tell you why. Because gun violence is going up in cities across the country. Gun violence has gone up during the pandemic. And the reason why gun violence has gone up, sure, Larry Krasner might have some blame in it, according to those who deal with these things, right? But the reason that gun violence has gone up is because people don't have what they need. People are poor, man. People are poor in Philadelphia. So let me get this straight. Y'all gonna blame Larry Krasner, but you're not doing anything about poverty. You're going to blame Larry Krasner, but 1 in 4 people in Philadelphia live below the poverty line. You're going to blame Larry Krasner, but you're gentrifying people out of their neighborhoods. You're going to blame Larry Krasner, but you don't have black people on these job sites. You're going to blame Larry Krasner, and you got all these other conditions that are going on, that have been going on, but it's Larry Krasner's fault that people going out shooting each other. I mean, he might have a role in it. But don't just try to blame just one person when these conditions have existed for years? You know what I mean? You know, I remember Sylvester Johnson telling me that this is years ago. This is going back when he was police commissioner. He was like, we can't arrest our way out of this problem. And you can't. You got to give people opportunity, man, so they have something different to do than gun violence. You have to change people's mindset so they don't want to engage in gun violence. You got to handle this on the front end. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we're going to deal with the crime issue by having more kids in pre-K. Dude, that might deal with it 20 years from now. What about now? People need opportunity now. So, you know, we've invited Larry Krasner onto the show. It was a late invitation. We'll see if he comes on because, you know, he does have some questions to answer. But I don't think you could sit there and act like it's all Larry Krasner's fault that gun violence is going up. Just like it's not all the police department's fault that gun violence is going up. The cop can't stand there and wait for somebody to shoot and stop them from shooting. No, you have to deal with people having opportunity, deal with people having something different to look forward to, deal with young people believing that, yes, I'm going to live past 21, and so I don't have to do anything that would jeopardize my life right now. Like, you got to deal with all of that, man. Don't just try to blame it on one person. He might have a role in it. The cops might have a role in it. But the bigger role, in my view, is the lack of opportunity, the poor educational system, and all of the things that set people up so that they believe that the only thing that I have going for me is this gun. Real talk, which brings me to story number 3. Prosecutors in New York are investigating an incident in which a jazz musician said his 14-year-old son was attacked by a woman who falsely accused him of taking her iPhone. Trumpeter Keon Harrell posted a video taken with his phone that shows the woman making claims against his son on Saturday at the Arlo Soho Boutique Hotel. Harrell and his son are black and were guests at the hotel in Lower Manhattan. The woman was white. His video of the encounter has been widely shared on social media, about 2 million shares, prompting an outcry about what many felt was yet another incident of racial profiling against black men. The hotel apologized, called the woman's behavior a baseless accusation. So she's actually in this hotel, right? She's not a guest in the hotel. They're guests in the hotel. She busts in the hotel, right, talking about, you stole my iPhone. The boy's 14 years old, right? So he like, no, this is my iPhone. Well, show me your iPhone. She trying to, like, make him show her his iPhone. So the father comes, right? The father is this famous jazz trumpeter, right? They staying in this hotel. They coming down for brunch. She not a guest in the hotel, but she's white. And so she's exercising her white privilege. And the manager's like, well, look, you know, why don't you just show her the phone? And the father's like, no, we ain't showing her nothing. This is his phone. What do you think? You're the only person that made an iPhone. So now she actually physically tries to go in the boy's pocket, physically tries to go in the father's pocket, tries to tackle the boy. He's 14 years old, right? And eventually, you know, she finds out that her phone, she left it in an Uber. The father like, look, I scraped my knuckles. He's setting up for a lawsuit. Father like, look, I scraped my knuckles, and I play the trumpet. I need my knuckles, right? So, I mean, just craziness. What makes you think, and here's the thing, right? What makes you think you can come into a place of business and harass the customers in this place of business because you're white and they're black? What makes you think you can accuse somebody's son, right, in front of them of stealing something from you because you're white and they're black? What makes you think you can come into this place and have this authority as if somehow you are a law enforcement officer to try to go in somebody's pocket as if you're going to check them for something? Something got to change in 2021, man. Karen got to calm down, right? It's her fault we in this position anyway, because 53% of y'all voted for Trump the first time around. So now he's got this big platform and going crazy. You understand what I'm saying? Like, y'all need to chill. You know, something has to be different. And here's the other thing that happened. The father called out the hotel manager. He was like, what do you mean you trying to calm this down? No, you're actually empowering her by trying to tell us that we need to show her anything. We don't need to show her anything. We're the customers. She's not. And the father was right. But, you know, we've all been in those kind of situations, man, where, you know, we're someplace and they treat us differently because we're black. They act like we're trying to steal something because we're black. And it's like, nah, we just, you know, we're paying customers. Yeah, I remember my wife had to go down to the hotel lobby because the people was trying to act like my kids was trying to steal something. They down there trying to get a toothbrush. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you know, craziness. Craziness, man. But we all have experienced something like this. And so today, all of us are this trumpeter, Keon Harold. All of our kids are his kids. And you know, they done made a big deal out of it. They put the video on Instagram. It's been viewed over 2 million times. And we're going to play it a little bit later on in the show. I'm sending the link to Jordan. And we'll play it a little bit later on. But you know, have you been in these situations, man, where, you know, people just treat you a little bit different? People act like you trying to steal something. People watching you a little bit more closely. People allowing other folk to harass you, and you're the customer. You're the one paying money. You're the one who is allowing that business to continue. And because Karen come in and want to raise a fuss, they take her side. My man went and got Benjamin Crump. He went and got Al Sharpton. You know, the mayor has weighed in, and the mayor of New York is white, but he got a black son. So he was like straight up, no, this is racism from the gate. You know what I mean? Because, you know, you can recognize it, man, if you've seen it. So CNN contacted the lady. Lady was like, you know, they said she was erratic, so, you know, something might be wrong with her or whatever, but the police are looking for her. And they've identified her, and so we'll see if they arrest her for assault because, you know, the father's injured in this altercation while she's trying to tackle his son. She's talking about, oh, no, I was assaulted. Why would the father be filming himself assaulting you? Come on, lady. You know, so I want to hear from you, man. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Share your horror stories this morning, man. Have you been in a situation like that where you have people just kind of giving you a little bit of extra scrutiny, right? Standing up for folks who want to harass you because you're black, treating you as if you are not the paying customer, and giving someone else the power to try to make your life miserable. Have you ever been in a situation like that? I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on any of these things we are talking about on this morning's show. Also, you can weigh in on Facebook at onWURD. That's FORWURD, FORWURD, and let us know where you are on these various things we are talking about on this morning's show. FORWURD. That's how you can weigh in on Facebook. Let's go to the phone lines. Brother Joe from Germantown is on line one. Go ahead.
Hey, Brother Solomon. How you doing, good brother?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Brother Solomon. Before I talk about the incident that was racialized, for me, the interview there with Brother Chris yesterday, Solomon, I like how you broke it down, my brother. I mean, you might disagree on some things, but brother, I mean, you keep it real. You keep it real. I mean, you broke it down so nice on the black quarterback, middle linebacker position, Solomon, where you just broke it down antidote by antidote. That was very impressive, man.
Thank you.
Very impressive. And how happy belated birthday, Solomon. Look,
thank you, man.
You're welcome. This is deal, Solomon. I'm going to be real quick. About early this year, as a matter of fact, when the local drug church, I won't mention the name because they don't advertise on URD, I was down there to pick up something for my mom. And I'm in the store. You know, I'm not one, brother, I'm a 59-year-old black man. I've learned, you know, got to always jump to conclusions. I try to let things play and stuff out. So I noticed, Brother Solomon, while I was walking through the store, every hour I went to, I would see this black security guard pop up. And I said, well, maybe he just maybe it's coincidence. But I said, let me see how this goes before I say anything. So I noticed every time I would go to a different aisle, I would go to because I even started testing to see just what he would do. And he just kept popping up. So after about the fourth time, I looked at him. I said, bro, what is your problem, man? I said, bro, I'm going to tell you right now. I said, pop up to this aisle again. I said, I'm going to manager. I said, I'm not you know, I said, you might have that little Uncle Tom white man's mentality that you think are only out there, only black people stuff. I said, brother, I don't steal. I said, I work for it. I don't steal. And he gave me this look, brother Solomon, but guess what? He showed up at another aisle. When I said, I'm going to write the management. After that was the end of the story. I was ready to do the rest of my shop and do what I had to do and leave. He didn't pop up at no more aisle. But the sad part, brother Solomon, it's a shame you, as a black person, you have to go through those kind of things.
It is a shame.
When you have to go through that with your own people, because they fall into that kind of racist mindset and stuff, man. But anyway, Solomon, I wish you and Dawn Quace and all y'all family a happy New Year coming to hopefully 2021 be a good year and stuff for all of us, man. Thanks a lot, Solomon.
Thank you, Brother Joe. I appreciate that, and Happy New Year to you. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to take your calls, 215-634-8065. Valerie from Southwest, you're next. If you want to get in, it's 215-634-8065. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
And now, a word weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
Rain this morning and breezy, too. What we don't have is any cold air just yet. The temperatures will be falling during the day. Rain tapers off late this afternoon, and by that time, we'll be in the low 40s. Cooling down into the 30s as we ring in the new year at midnight under partly cloudy skies. Dry overnight, but the rain returns on New Year's Day. Steady rain developing Friday afternoon, 39 degrees, and the rain continues Friday night. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley with your most accurate forecast. Count on it.
Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Staples Store. Still not too bad here in Philadelphia this morning. Southbound 95 through the construction Cotman through Bridge. Not too bad this morning. Northbound looks pretty good. Vine Expressway, no major problems there. Through Center City, westbound Schuylkill University through 30th. Some slowing through that work zone. Eastbound side looking good. PA Turnpike, Blue Ridge 476 moving fine. In New Jersey, 4255, 295 running with no major problems or delays. Staples has everything you need to start the year right with amazing prices on great tech. Now at Staples PC clearance events, save up to $180 on select Lenovo PCs like the Flex 2-in-1 laptop with Intel i5 processor. Offer ends 1/2/21 while supplies last at Staples. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. I'm Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Family caregiving can be rewarding and challenging. Family and friends are the backbones of America's care system for older Americans and loved ones to live at home. African American family caregivers care for a loved one for an average of 5 years and help with medical and nursing tasks for over 30 hours a week. But now, caregiving may be harder than ever. AARP has information and online communities of other caregivers. Learn more at aarp.org/caregiving.
Dietz & Watson has been making premium meats and artisan cheeses for over 80 years. And when it comes to stacking sandwiches and party platters, they've got something for everyone in the family, like maple honey turkey breast, American cheese, buffalo chicken, and more. So get to your local deli and taste 4 generations of family recipes. With Dietz & Watson on the table, you'll have everyone coming back for seconds and thirds. Dietz & Watson, it's a family thing since 1939. WURD Radio presents the following wellness tip to support our listeners with mindfulness and motivation as we continue to navigate the pandemic together.
Hi, this is Halana, your resident health and wellness coach with tips to help you stay well. We breathe every day and have been doing so since before we were born. But wait, let's think about this for a moment. Something as simple as breathing can enhance our health and well-being. When we breathe mindfully, we slow down, take deep breaths, and activate our parasympathetic system to relax our bodies. Mindful breathing goes like this. Number 1, find a comfortable place to sit still for a few minutes. Number 2, close your eyes and relax your hands on your thighs. Number 3, take a deep breath in and count to 3. Then exhale your breath and count to 3. Do this 5 times. We sometimes think mindful breathing has to be an intense experience, yet even just a few minutes a day can make a big difference. Go ahead and try it today. Stay well with WURD. Happy living.
Stay well with WURD. Connect with us at wordradio.com. It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. Happy New Year, man. This is the last show of the year for us. And I want to talk about what you're going to be doing in the new year. What are your resolutions? What are the things that you want to be different for you? And what are you willing to do in order to make that happen? What are your goals? What are your plans? What are your resolutions for 2021? I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. If y'all wanted those $2,000 checks, it's probably not going to happen. Mitch McConnell playing games with that, which to me brings into sharp focus why that race in Georgia matters, man. You need Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff to win, because if Mitch McConnell remains in charge, the same way he's doing these $2,000 checks is the same way he's going to do everything, right? Obstruction, standing in the way, trying to stop progress, holding people back, that kind of thing. And we just don't have time for those games, man. We've had 4 years of utter chaos with Donald Trump, 4 years of incompetence with Donald Trump, 4 years of racism with Donald Trump. And we just, at this point, man, we need to be able to move forward as a country. And so I sent some money to John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock in Georgia. And hopefully you did too. Hopefully we all have called our relatives in Georgia and told them that it is critically important that they vote in this election. And because what you're seeing right now from Mitch McConnell, you getting ready to see 4 more years of that. If John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock do not win. And I'm not being alarmist. I'm just being honest, that this is a guy who is willing to obstruct anything that does not fit into his agenda of only helping corporations and rich people. Anything other than that, man, he is against it. And anything Joe Biden tries to do, he's going to be against it. And so if you are watching this whole thing with these $2,000 checks, now the House passed it like that. You know what I mean? Trump said he want $2,000 checks. Y'all did everything else Trump wanted to do. Why are you not doing this too? It's unreal that they actually, man, would be this petty over people getting the money that belongs to them anyway. It's a deep thing. So that's story number one. Story number two, Philadelphia DA Larry Krasner under fire. He says that the reason why there are so few convictions over illegal gun possessions is that witnesses don't show up in court. But the numbers say this, man. Before Krasner was sworn in, according to data his office posted online, the share of illegal gun possession cases withdrawn or dismissed never topped 29% before he was in office. But it's grown in each of the last 3 years, from 32% in 2018 to 42% in 2019 to 48% this year, right? So, I mean, the numbers have gone up, man. So the numbers say that these illegal gun possession cases have been withdrawn or dismissed, almost half of them this year, when before he took office, it was about a third of them that were withdrawn or dismissed. And so, somebody got to answer for that. But in my view, it's not just him, right? In my view, it is a system that doesn't protect witnesses. Why should you testify if they could just kill you and get away with it? Let's talk about the conviction rate for homicides. Let's talk about that. Because in Philadelphia, especially if you young and black and male, they can kill you and get away with it. They got a 90% chance of getting away with it. So why would you be a witness and testify if you have no protection whatsoever? Why would you do it? I mean, just keeping it 100. Just for a minute, let's keep it a bean. If you are a witness, why would you testify if the person can kill you and get away with it? If there is no protection for you from the system. Like, if you really want witnesses to testify, you got to figure out a better way to protect them. If you really want witnesses to testify, you have to handle crime in the black community the same way you do when it's one of your own. How come when a chief inspector's kid gets shot, they find the assailant within days? But if somebody in the hood gets shot, they never find them. There's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with the mindset of how these criminals are pursued in our community. If y'all ain't really trying to convict them, then why should I, as a witness, testify? Real rap. You know, stop talking about, oh, it's because of no snitching and all of that. No, that's what the criminals do. That's amongst the criminals. But guess what? The vast majority of us are not criminals. We go to work every day. We pay our bills. We take care of our family. We do the same thing you do. But y'all trying to use Larry Krasner as a scapegoat. Yeah, he got a role in it, but it's not just him. It's the fact that in this city, we've had a 25% poverty rate for decades. That's what's going on. It's because you have allowed people to languish in poverty. You've allowed the educational system to crumble. You've allowed job opportunities to go to organizations that keep black people out. You've allowed our tax dollars to go toward our oppression. That's what you've done. So don't just try to blame Larry Krasner. No, this has been years in the making. And the reason that gun violence is going up is because of the lack of opportunity. That's what I believe. And you can't get convictions because people know that if they shoot you, they're going to get away with it. Come on, man. Come on, bro. Let's talk about that. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. And let's talk about the fact that gun violence is going up in cities across the country. So why is it just Philadelphia? You understand what I'm saying? You know, we got to do better, man. We got to do better with opportunity. We got to do better with economic advancement. We got to do better with education. You got people graduating from high school that aren't qualified for any job. People graduating from high school that aren't ready for college. People graduating from high school that have no idea how to balance a checkbook, how to do just regular everyday stuff. Y'all talking about Larry Krasner. It's all Krasner's fault. Nah, man. It's a whole system that is setting people up to believe that all I have going for me is this gun. Story number 3. When Karen goes wild, man, what do you do when somebody is actually just harassing not just you, but your kid, accusing you of something that you did not do because you are black? We've got the video from Instagram that was posted by Keon Harold when his son was confronted by a woman who claimed that he stole her phone. Jordan, let's take a listen.
Please. Show me this is my phone. Show me. No.
You don't have to explain nothing to her.
Take the case off. That's mine. Literally, can get it back.
Are you kidding me? You feel like there's only one iPhone made in the world?
No. Okay, then show me the.
No, you get a life.
Over there. What's on your background?
You better go use find my iPhone. Go do that.
Find my iPhone is on.
No, you can't. No,
I'm the manager of the hotel.
I don't care.
He will
this
right
is my
now.
son.
Hey,
did you see me just come downstairs out of the fucking elevator?
I'm trying to help.
No, but you're not helping.
I am.
What you've been is disrespectful.
No, I'm trying to settle the situation.
I'm asking. My son has nothing to do with her.
No.
I'm trying to figure out what's going on in the lobby.
Then show me the proof. No, he's not leaving. Show me the proof.
Are you kidding me? You better get on.
I need you away.
Let's go, kid.
I need you away.
I'm sorry.
Better get on. We have what you see two black people.
No, I'm not letting him walk away with my phone.
Better get on.
No, please get my phone back. I cannot not have my phone.
Listen, get your ass on.
So that's how it ends. There was a word in there, but that's how it ends. And so, you know, the lady is like, you know, she's tripping. And her phone is in an Uber where she left it. And the father's like, look, you know, turn on Find My iPhone, because, you know, that is a feature on Apple products, that you have a feature where it will show you where your phone is, right? If you have that feature on. And she's like, no, I'm not letting him leave with my phone. And the boy's like, no, this is not your phone. And the father's insistent. No, he doesn't have to show you anything. That is not your phone. He's not showing you his phone. You better get on. So I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what's going to be different in the new year, man, because we got to deal with Karen, man, in the new year. I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065 is the number. Let's go to Valerie from Southwest on line 2. Go ahead, Valerie.
Good morning and Happy New Year and happy belated birthday.
Thank you so much.
I just want to tell you about what happened to me and my mother. My mother's gone now, and I'm in my 60s. And we grew up in Germantown. And this happened in West Philly because my mother's mother lived in West Philly, and we would go over there every Sunday. It was near 43rd and Lancaster on the corner. It was a market. And somehow or another, my mother got in an argument with the cashier. And my mother said, no, baby, this is not that much or whatever. And they tried to take her money from her and tried to make her pay more than it was. Anyway, at the crust of the thing, it was a mayonnaise different thing, and it was like maybe 70 of them, and they were stacked up real pretty. And my mother said, "You're gonna give me my money back." The lady said, "Oh no, you're not getting it back because you did so and so." Anyway, I saw the racism, and my mother went behind that mayonnaise thing and started throwing mayonnaise jars, and so did I. So
you said my mom throwing them, I'm gonna throw them too.
So my little cousin ran across the street is where my grandmother lived on 43rd Street. He ran and got her sisters. All of them are gone now, but each one of them came and they started doing it. So the manager finally comes out and said, "Oh, you're tearing up our store and all this." My mother said, "You gonna give me back my money?" He said, "No, I'm not." He didn't call no cops or nothing. And I was too little to understand then how the racism goes, but that was a horrible thing, and I never forgot it to this day. And I understand what that young man was going through. So his father was absolutely right.
Yeah.
But if his mother had been with him, she could have beat her down. You know? And that's what she needed, because I believe she was on something. You know?
Yeah. Well, I think they handled it the right way, because the father immediately after it happened, he was like, "Look, I scraped my knuckles, and I'm a trumpet player. I need my knuckles."
He was professionally done, you know, because somebody else black would have beat the shit out of her.
Okay. All right. You can't say that on the air. So we're gonna go to Olanian from Nicetown on line 3. Go ahead, Olani. Y'all don't curse, please. Go ahead, Olanian.
So I'm being given a warning so that I won't curse too. The story I want to talk to is a curse. They tried to curse me. Way back in the 1970s, before 1976, I was a teen, and I was walking down Lumber Street with some of my friends. Police stopped us and accused me by identifying what kind of sneakers I was wearing. And because I had those sneakers on, I was the one who they believe took police officers and their family members' coats out of Hassan Abdul Haq, I'm trying to say his name correctly, Mr. Kenny Gamble's Christian Street restaurant. The police beat me in the police station for hours to cause me to admit to the theft, but that did not work. Judge Smith, a black man, paid for my defense. He found an attorney, a black attorney, to help me. I met Judge Smith from my newspaper stand where I sold newspapers, inquiries and bulletins. He kept me out of jail. This is imperative evidence of racism. That's all I have to say.
Olanian, I'm sorry that happened to you, man, and I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Let's go back to the phone lines. Derek from North Philly is on line 4. Go ahead, Derek.
Hey, thank you for the opportunity, Solomon. I appreciate you.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Hey, yeah, the thing is, okay, I'm gonna try not to be too long-winded, but
all right. Well, let's do this. Let's go to break and let's get you on the other side. So hold on, because it's 7:40. We got to go to break. On the other side, Derek is up first. Then Malik from Mount Airy, Miss Mary from Winfield. If you want to get in, it's 215-634-8065. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Now, a word weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
Rain this morning and breezy, too. What we don't have is any cold air just yet. The temperatures will be falling during the day. Rain tapers off late this afternoon, and by that time, we'll be in the low 40s. Cooling down into the 30s as we ring in the new year at midnight under partly cloudy skies. Dry overnight, but the rain returns on New Year's Day. Steady rain developing Friday afternoon, 39 degrees, and the rain continues Friday night. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley with your most accurate forecast. Count on it.
Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning. Still a pretty good ride here throughout the Philadelphia area. This report's sponsored by Staples Stores. 95 southbound still looks pretty good through the construction. Cotman down through Bridge. Northbound moving fine. Same thing on the Vine Expressway. That is light. Schuylkill westbound. Watch for some slowing University through 30 through that work zone. The Boulevard Route 1 southbound looks pretty good. No major problems on the Turnpike or the Blue Route this morning in Mount Laurel. 38 eastbound at Larchmont Boulevard. Accident there in the process of being cleared. Staples has everything you need to start the year right with amazing prices on great tech. Now at Staples PC clearance events, save up to $180 on a selected Lenovo PCs like the Flex 2-in-1 laptop with Intel i5 processor. Offer ends at 1/2/21 while supplies last. Staples. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
I'm Councilman Kenyatta Johnson. As the holidays approach, we've all heard the news. A vaccine for COVID-19 is coming. However, now is not the time to let our guard down. As COVID-19 continues to spread, keep wearing your mask. Practice social distancing. Avoid large get-togethers. It will take time before we all get vaccinated. Until then, keep yourself, your family, and community safe. We will get through this pandemic together. Stay safe. Stop the spread.
Have you thought about your Christmas Day or New Year's Day dinner? Contact Eatable Delights Catering for one of their scrumptious packages. Call for the fire roasted chestnuts, the Natalie Cole, or the Arizona Special. They can cater for you for as little as 4 people. 215-236-3900 or stop in at 1540 Wadsworth Avenue. Order by December 21st for pickup and order for delivery by December 24th and December 25th. That's 215-236-3900.
This WURD Kwanzaa vignette is brought to you by the Curtis Institute of Music. Habari Gani from WURD Radio. The 7 days of Kwanzaa are dedicated to the Nguzo Saba, or the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. Today is the 6th day of Kwanzaa, Kuumba, or creativity. Let's use today to beautify our communities, celebrate the arts, and use our gifts to create. Today is a great day to visit a museum virtually as a family, create or refresh home art, and support local artists. Challenge your family to create and use their talents in any medium and without boundaries. Then have an online talent show or virtual showcase with friends and family that you've been social distanced from. For more information about Kwanzaa, visit wordradio.com. This WURD Kwanzaa vignette was brought to you by the Curtis Institute of Music. The Curtis Institute of Music educates and trains exceptional young musicians. And to ensure that admissions are based solely on artistic promise, Curtis makes an investment in each admitted student so that no tuition is charged for their studies. Meet Curtis today at curtis.edu.
I would like to play a little tune I just composed not so long ago.
Hey family, do you like hearing the best jazz selections aired by 3 of the best jazz announcers in Philadelphia? Well, tune in to 96.1 FM,
96.1 FM,
and 900 AM, WURD Radio, independent black media for Freedom Sounds of Jazz.
Freedom Sounds of Jazz.
Hear Freedom Sounds of Jazz 10 p.m. Fridays with your hosts in rotation, Aquila, Jonathan Bay, and David Fritz. That's 10 p.m. Friday nights on WURD 96.1 FM and 900 AM independent black media.
It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. We're talking about a number of things this morning, including an incident that happened in New York. Trumpeter Keon Harold posted a video that shows a woman making claims against his son on Saturday at the Arlo Soho Boutique Hotel in Lower Manhattan. Now, Harold and his son are black, and they were guests at the hotel. The woman is white, and she was making this accusation that Keon Harold's son had stolen her iPhone. The father responded, and the woman is insisting that his son show her his phone, and he was like, "No, he's not showing you anything. What you think? You the only one that got an iPhone? Turn on Find Your iPhone." Which is, it's true, you can do that, right? Because it has that feature, and will use satellites in order to find the phone, right? She like, well, I don't know what she said, something like it's off or something. But he insisted that he was not going to allow his son to be subjected to a search by some random white woman who felt like she could just accuse him of anything. And, I was talking off the air with my wife, and she was like, now imagine in the days of slavery, when a white person could just say anything and it would be believed. And the consequences were astronomical. The consequences could be death. It could cost you your life. It could cost you a limb. It could cost you a beating. It could cost you, anything, man. They could say anything and it was believed. And I believe what we see now are the remnants of that, where they think they could just say anything and people just supposed to believe them because they white. And it's a shame, man, because, imagine if this boy's father had not been there. The police could have come. He could have tried to run. They could have shot him. Like, anything could have happened, man. You know what I mean? And so, this is a serious matter because it is the remnants of slavery. It's a serious matter because guess what? Sometimes anything they say is still believed. You got a whole lot of people, man, doing jail time because somebody said that they did something that they did not do. And that's compounded if the person is white. I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. Let's go to Derek from North Philly on line 4. Go ahead, Derek.
Yeah, so, man, you basically killed it, man. You said it all right there. And the thing is, like you just said, the bottom line is, like even though she was in the wrong or whatnot, like there's so many people that have been accused and falsely accused of things and being punished and filling up the jails and prison because of that there, The thing is, we cannot let something like that ride just because somebody decides they're going to pick some random black dude and say that they did something. No, we should not allow that to happen. Then the other thing is, on the flip side of that, the Minister Farrakhan said that a long time ago, man, we hated by all races, every genre there is. For what? I don't know. But it's just for somebody that, that's probably just, I don't care if they was born and raised here or not. They allow television and the media to shape and bend their minds and mold what they think about black people and whatnot, and that's what they got to go on, and it's sad that this can continue to go on. We in a new millennium. We in a pandemic. You understand what I'm saying? And the thing is, I don't know what else to add to that there, Solomon. I'm going to sit back and enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. I appreciate your call this morning on WURD. Malik from Mount Airy is on line 1. Go ahead, Malik.
Good morning, WURD family. Solomon, once again, I thank you for what you do, for bringing the truth to the people. But here's my thing, and I, like you already said, what scares me that we live in a world where we actually say, I'm glad you didn't call the police. Because
I know. Well, he did call the police, but they wasn't there yet. But, yeah, I'm glad they wasn't there yet.
If that heated interaction, you already know that we get killed for having cell phones in our hands. We get killed for having our hands up. Imagine what would happen if you got a white person involved who's already agitated and now becomes a scuffle. You already know who's going to jail. You already know who could be killed. And that scares me that we live in a society where that is okay. And you already know they're gonna dock it. They've already docked you. It's gonna be, oh, it was a struggle. Oh, these police officers felt threatened. It's a 14-year-old child that's already scared that somebody's trying to assault them. But you already know that going into it, who's the aggressor? Who's the person we got to kill? Not the person who started all it. Not getting to the bottom of it. And that's my plight, where we live in a world where it's still okay to just kill us for any given reason. Like you said, in slavery days, we're in 2020, but we still dealing with the same issues we had in slavery and in the Reconstruction era, where I could kill you for any given reason, and pretty much the justice system is going to justify it. Think about that. That's crazy. But I thank y'all. Y'all have a good day.
All right. Thank you for your call. Miss Mary from Winfield is online, too. Go ahead, Miss Mary.
And good morning. How are you this morning?
I'm great. How are you?
You are absolutely great. First of all, happy New Year's to you and your family.
Same to you.
And may God bless us with prosperity, health, and to keep marching on. I'm going to say, and your wife was exactly right. When I seen that yesterday, I said, Lord, Emmett Till. That's where my mind first went. Because during that time, I was 7, but Jet Magazine, we always had them in our home, and I seen that boy, But that's what they did. And Karen, okay, I don't think nothing wrong with her. She's just a Karen. I'm going to take you to something happened to me. My sons were at that time 3 and 4. At that time, I was living out in Cheltenham and Walnut Lane, and the mounted police were still working, Germantown and Shelton, 65 bus now. At that time, it was the letter E bus. I got on, my sons got on in front of me, which I've always done that. When they get on, I get off first when they got off. But they were little guys. Anyway, my mom was with me, God rest her soul, and she got on. I was the last one to get on, but I noticed as I looked to where my sons were going to sit, they had to do they had to jump over something. And I'm like, what the? Anyway, being as I was at that time, and thank God he has raised me, I was Afro Sheen, Angela Davis girl, okay? So as I walked to the back of the bus, Karen was sitting there with her in the double seats with her legs across the aisle. And I said to her, excuse me, you need to move your legs. She said, oh, no, you need to jump over my legs like them little black kids of yours did. Well, I slapped her before God got the message. Okay? Because you ain't going to talk to me like that, and you're not going to do that to me. I have other stories, but that was the main one that stayed in my mind. My mother was so scared because the bus driver being Caucasian, not the police being Caucasian, they going to call the cops. I said, I ain't going somewhere. She going to turn her legs around out of this aisle like she's supposed to. Okay? Well, the law started with me because I was completely right. But Solomon, I sat down next to that woman from Germantown and Shelton, the 5-4 and City Avenue, and I sat right next to her. And every time she said something, my elbow jerked. I said, you'll never, ever talk to a black woman or her children like that again. But it's a sad time that we're still doing it, and the ones that have gone on, because as your wife said to you, during those times, there was nothing. There was no cameras or anything, And it's a sad time, and it is what it is. But Karen needs to be brought up on charges like the guy that was bird watching, okay? Strip her of whatever she got, Karen. Be blessed, Word family. God bless us with a happy and prosperous New Year. Love you all.
Love you back, Miss Mary. Thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. She ain't playing no games. Let's go to Miss Margaret from Southwest on line 3. Go ahead, Miss Margaret.
Good morning, Solomon. I want to say, may you, your family, the Word family, and everyone have a prosperous New Year coming, and we got to stand our ground. Solomon, that remind me of me and my mother down there in Woolworths trying to get a hot dog and sauerkraut, and the woman didn't want to wipe the counter off and give us a hot dog. But eventually she broke down and did what she needed to do. We senior citizens is going to stand behind all these millennials and those who's with us. If they touch my Obama phone if they touch my track phone, Solomon, I'm going to snap. You understand me? If I not touch the senior citizen phones, because we ain't having it. And y'all have a blessed new year. Okay?
All right, Miss Margaret, thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Let's go to Dolores from Southwest on line 1. Go ahead, Dolores.
Good morning, Solomon. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. This make me think of poor Emmett Till, because what a white woman said.
Yeah.
And then they find out years later, she lied. She lied. I don't care if she was 103. Lock her up.
That's right.
And you know, and the woman in Central Park. If it wasn't for cell phones, where would we be? Thank God for cell phones. And thank you, Solomon.
You're right. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I appreciate your call this morning on WURD Radio. What do you do when Karen attacks, right? When you're in a situation like that, and you know, this person is just falsely accusing you, or worse, your child, of doing something illegal, of taking something from them. You know that's not the case. The people in the facility where you are siding with her, right? What do? What rights do you have? What are you supposed to say? What are you supposed to do? How are you supposed to act? What steps should you take? Well, we're going to talk with lawyer Kevin Mincy on the other side of this break about what you do when Karen attacks. What are your legal rights? What are the things that you can do? What are the steps that you should take in order to stand up for your rights in that situation? Lawyer Kevin Mincy is on the other side. I'm Solomon Jones. This is WURD. We'll be right back.
Leo's Men's and Boys Apparel wishes to extend a happy and healthy holiday season to you and your family. Leo's is running a special holiday sale and is open from Monday to Saturday from 9:30 to 5:30 p.m. and 11 a.m. to 4 on Sunday. Mention WURD Radio for a 20% special discount. Check out our sweater suit sets. Leo's offers fresh styles and extensive selection for shoes, hats, gifts, and accessories. Buy one suit and get the second one half off. Leo's is located at 2705 Germantown Avenue in North Philadelphia.
I'm Anthony McLaurin. Been denied insurance? Call 215-782-8574. Life insurance, age 0 to 85, no examination needed. Homeowners insurance, any home, any condition, same-day coverage. 215-782-8574. Auto insurance, we can have you covered in 15 minutes. Business insurance, call 24 hours a day, 215-782-8574. I'm Anthony McLaurin. When you need insurance, I can help.
Listen to Laborers Live.
We created the weekend. We created the 40-hour work week. We just want enough to feed our family, be able to send our children to college, and let our next generation do better than we did.
To people that might have forgot how important unionism is in a country like the United States. People now infringing on our 8-hour workday, trying to work people more than 8 hours without overtime, trying to work people without benefits. In the long run, everybody's getting a fat paycheck except the worker. So this is really a wake-up call for America.
The struggle is continuous. Tune in to Laborers Live every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. Sponsored by LESIT, the Laborers Employers Cooperation Education Trust of the Laborers District Council of Philadelphia and vicinity. Local 332, Sam Staten Jr. Business Manager. Local 57, Esteban Vera Business Manager. Local 135, Dan Woodall Jr. Business Manager. Local 413, James Harper Jr. Business Manager. The Laborers District Council, Ryan Boyer Business Manager, and Tony Staten, Executive Director of LESIT.
He's back.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton.
Keeping it real with the Reverend Al Sharpton.
In times like these, we have to stay connected.
At a brand new time.
Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. till midnight.
I'm excited that Keeping It Real returns to WURD.
Keeping it real.
With the Reverend Al Sharpton.
Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. till midnight.
This program is pre-recorded.
No phone calls, please.
Keep it locked to WURD 96.1 FM, 900 AM. WURDradio.com.
It's the 6th day of Kwanzaa.
Barigani. Today's principle is kuumba, or creativity. So light the red candle closest to the center of the Kinara and stay tuned.
This is WURD Radio.
96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Streaming live on WURDradio.com, the WURD Radio app,
or watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube.
WURD Radio. Independent Black Media.
You're waking up
with WURD.
Hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with WURD. We should be talking with lawyer Kevin Mincy in just a few minutes, but in the meantime, we'll take your calls at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we are talking about on this morning's show. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in. You can also weigh in on Facebook at 4WURD. That's FORWURD, FORWURD. And let us know where you are on these various things we are talking about on this morning show. What do you do when Karen attacks? This is absolutely crazy. I mean, you know, with all the stuff going on in the world, man, you know, this thing, I think, is it matters, and it's important because this could be any of us, right? Any of us could be in a hotel with our kids and have some woman accuse our child of doing something that they didn't do. And here's the deep thing, right? The way that the hotel manager responded was to say, you know, look, you know, why don't you just show her your phone? The man was like, no, I don't have to show her anything. You know, and in that situation, here it is. This man is the paying guest, right? He's the customer. This is some woman who's coming off the street. She's not even a guest at the hotel. And so you are actually taking the side of someone who is accosting your customer, who is harassing your customer, who is affecting your business, but because she's white, she has the privilege to do that. And you have the temerity to stand with her on that. Why don't you just show her your phone? I'm not showing her anything, man. That's, you know, this is his. I'm his father. No, I'm not. He doesn't have to show her anything. And so that is the way that the father responded. But we wanted to know, what are your legal rights in a situation like that? So we called lawyer Kevin Mincy. He's a founding partner at Mincy Fitzpatrick Ross, LLC, a former prosecutor. He's a defense attorney handling cases in various aspects of the law. Kevin Mincy, good morning.
Good morning, Solomon. How you doing today? Happy New Year.
I'm good, man. How are you? Happy New Year to you, too.
Things are well, man. Appreciate you reaching out.
Yep, absolutely. So here it is. So this woman comes into this hotel. She's looking for her iPhone. She's not a guest there. I guess she had been a guest there a couple of days before. And she is looking for her phone, and she thinks this young man took her phone, and she's making these accusations against him. It gets heated, and apparently she tried to go in his pockets. What are your rights? What are your legal rights in a situation like that?
Well, I think the most important thing to remember is that she has no authority to be confronting him and searching him. And so I think what they did and the way they handled it is the correct way to handle it. It's really try to remain calm and, try to document as much as you can so that if the authorities are called, you're not in a position where you're the one that's yelling and screaming. You know how the police view us as black men, and so Mr. Harold and his son, I think, handle it exceptionally well.
Mm-hmm. So legally, she has no right to ask them to show her anything in terms of their phone or what have you. And so I'm curious, with the hotel saying, well, why don't you just show her your phone, and the father saying, no, I'm staying here, I'm the customer. No, I'm not showing her anything. As far as legal action after something like this, what kind of legal action can you take after something like this?
Well, the hotel can certainly. There are federal rules like the Public Accommodations Act, where hotels and I guess industries that are providing hospitality services like a hotel have to be mindful of how they treat their guests, especially in terms of race and race discrimination claims. But also. The hotel has to be very careful to not publicly embarrass, the guest, by, calling the police, drawing attention, evicting them from the hotel. Obviously, none of these things happen here, but I actually have handled cases where that has happened. And that's where the hotel can get into some liability where, they negligently handled, a guest relations issue, and it caused public embarrassment to a family.
Mm-hmm. So this father has gotten in contact with Benjamin Crump, has gotten in contact with Al Sharpton. They are asking this woman to be charged. Apparently, she touched them. She put her hands on them. And do they have any civil claim with something like this?
They could certainly bring a civil claim. I guess the question would be, what are the damages? And he could certainly make a claim for emotional distress that would ultimately have to be bared out in discovery and in civil court. So there's certainly a claim once she puts her hands on him that is technically a battery because it's an unwanted touching. At least certainly would be in Pennsylvania. And then the question would just be, how badly were you injured? And it would be up to the lawyer. Certainly Ben is a capable lawyer here to prove that claim.
Mm-hmm. What about the hotel's liability in something like this? One of the things the father said when the hotel manager was like, well, why don't you just show her the phone? He said, you're empowering her. And he was offended that the manager would actually ask his son to show this random woman his phone as if he had to prove something to her. So what liability does the hotel have in something like this?
Well, I think you'd have to get pretty creative in order to attach liability to the hotel and their conduct. Obviously, they have a responsibility to try and de-escalate anything. And then, so I guess you would have to look at the training of the hotel and how they train their staff to deal with these type of issues, and if they are appropriately trained and qualified to handle it. So I would probably look at it from that angle if I was trying to attach liability to the hotel at all. But really, the sole wrongdoer here, or at least the chief wrongdoer, is the woman. And I think any establishment is going to try and quell the situation as best they can. I can't say that I necessarily agree that he had to side with the lady, but I think trying to attach liability, if they're going to put it on a scale and say who's the most liable, they're certainly going to point to the woman who caused all of this.
Mm-hmm. And so if something like this happens to me, I'm in a hotel with my son, and some lady comes and says, hey, he took my phone. Legally, I just want to run through that. So I just want our people to make sure they know exactly what to do. Legally, what are my responsibilities? What should I do?
If it's just a random civilian or citizen who walks up to you and accuses you of taking something from them, you have no duty to stop and speak to them at all. Even if it is the hotel manager, I guess they might have maybe a slightly heightened ability to question you. But even then, all they can really do is call the police and report it to the police. You don't have to speak to any of those people. And so, I think, like I said, the most important thing for everyone is whenever you remain calm and you can think clearly, then you can record things that'll help you defend yourself in that type of situation, and that's what the Herald did.
All right. All right. That is lawyer Kevin Mincy. He's a founding partner at Mincy Fitzpatrick Ross, LLC, a former prosecutor. He's a defense attorney handling cases in various aspects of the law. Kevin, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning on WURD.
Thanks, Solomon. Here's to a successful 2021, man. Talk to you soon.
Same to you. All right. So, yeah, I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. I just wanted y'all to know that you don't even have to respond to these people, man. But he's absolutely right. Remain calm, collect evidence. Just in case things go left, you've got the evidence you need in order to prevail in court, And so we'll see what happens with this case. But the cops in New York do say that they are considering charges against this woman. How dare you come in here, put your hands over. Now, we got somebody in our family who, loses stuff and says that we took it, but we're handling that internally, right? It's never a situation where people go off and all of that, man. But to have a stranger just come up to you and be like, you got my phone, huh? And the deep thing, man, iPhones are expensive, right? They can be $500, $600, $700, $1,000, depending on what phone you get. They are expensive, right? So you gonna come up to me now? I done paid. I'm the father. I done paid for my son's phone, right? And you gonna come up to my son and say that it's yours? Man, if you don't get out of here, are you crazy? And then. Get physical about it. Like you gonna go in his pockets and you go, like what? And I'm not gonna let you leave. Well, how you gonna stop me? Like just craziness, man. So I want to hear from you. 215-634-8065. 2021 has got to be different than this. This is absolutely insane, man. Some of the stuff that we have seen this year from Karen and them, man, is like, you done lost your mind. So I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Of course, you can also weigh in on Facebook at ForWord. That's FORWURD, FORWURD. We got a couple of people weighing in on Facebook. Gary Hines says, NYC seems to be full of Karens. And A. Malik Stewart says, not just NYC, the whole country. Arlene Wright says, I just switched to Apple and bought me a 12. I would have lost it. You know what I mean? Do you know how much these things cost? Like, no, you are losing your mind. Anthony Brown says, why could the father not have dialed his son's phone? The number it would have rung. And so, I just think the father just was like fed up. Like, no, lady, I don't have to prove anything to you. And as Kevin Mincy just said, he didn't even have to talk to her. He didn't even have to answer her accusation. Legally, you have no obligation to respond to somebody like that. None. Right? Now, if the police come, you have to respond to them. If the manager says something like Kevin Mincy said, he has maybe a little bit more authority in that situation. But some random person just coming to you talking about your phone is theirs, like you don't even have to respond to them. Right? So that's that. And Delilah Levester said this, the hotel should be held accountable. The boy had to be terrified. The scariest part is how she automatically took authority she didn't have. What gave her that idea? Assaulted him. Wasn't a guest at the hotel, and the staff automatically sided with her. This incident is scary from beginning to end. I definitely make an example out of her. And so that's what she says. Robert Garland says, this is exactly what Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is about, negotiating with power structures. A. Malik Stewart says, the sad part is the only thing they truly understand is violence. They have not more than an inch in 50, 60 years with the we shall overcome mentality. Not saying go start violence against anyone. Yeah, don't say that. Thank you very much. Let's go. Tony Freeman says, and that's not true. I think the only thing America understands is money. That's what I think. And certainly, violence is something that is an inherent part of life, right? But I think that the thing they understand more is money. I do. We live in a capitalistic society where everything is run by money. And so, yeah, you need to be sued. You know, what you got? Yeah, matter of fact, pull out your pockets. Let me see what you got in your pocket, and run that money over here. So I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Shaquille from the Northeast is on line one. Go ahead, Shaquille.
Good morning, Solomon. How are you doing?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. I'm glad to call this radio station. You know, I'm listening right now as we speak.
Okay.
I think what she did was dead wrong. If that was my child, I'm like, look here, sweetie. I just brought this phone for my child. And matter of fact, I wouldn't even respond. I would have kept moving it and ignored her.
Mm-hmm.
And then if she would have put her hands on my child, then I would have had the right to call the cops on her. Because I'm not going to put my hands on a woman. But that's why you bring back up, I don't condone violence. Let me say this. I do not condone violence. Okay? But when you put your hands on my child, that's a whole other story.
Yeah, that is.
Mm-hmm. I had a similar situation on a bus one time. I played guitar. I was on my way to church. This white child, Caucasian child, going to say, move your guitar, B-I-T-C-H. I'm going to listen here. You want me to do something for you? You ask. You ain't got to call me a bitch. His mom going to sit there and say, oh, he can say whatever he wants. I'm like, you know what? Your child called me a bitch again. I'm going to show you what a female dog does. Before the drive, I was with my girlfriend this time. At this time, we were both going to church. So before the driver could say, Jack, don't do that, I saw red. I saw red, Solomon. I just popped him in the mouth. I ain't hurt him. But these kids got to learn. You can't say whatever you want to people. But what she did was wrong. If that was my child, I would have had her arrested on the spot.
Thank you for your call to WURD. If you want to get in, it's 215-634-8065. I don't know if you can say, can you say that on the radio? That's 215-634-8065 is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Diane from South Philly is on line two. Go ahead, Diane.
Good morning, Solomon. Good morning. I told George, I said, there you go, putting the black icing on the cake. I love it. You know what? I'm listening to the callers, and I'm listening to those women, the black women with knowledge, my age group and above, telling us about what they have experienced through racism and what they had and what's going on, and it hasn't changed. And one thing that bothers me the most about the whole topic is about how some black folks are still getting on the step the bus going straight to the back. One time my daughter did that, I said, Rosa Parks said we can get on the bus and we sit wherever we want. Get up in the front.
Yeah.
Get up in the front. And I just told George, I said, Jordan, you have no idea what we went through, and now it's going on again. Here we go with another Karen. And this situation right here is not just Karen being the white woman, it's Karen being all over. Right now, I still deal with the Dominicans and the Asians. When I come in the store, you're going to stop and look at me and follow me. How dare you? All people don't steal, okay? And Solomon, and with I'm hoping, I'm praying in Georgia that we win this race. Yeah. Not that we, because that race is just not Georgia, it's all of us. We need to win it.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that the new year, that will be the past, and the new year will be prosperous, that we have a different perspective and change the hate in some hearts of people that are expressing. I've never seen so much racism expressed in this century. It's out blatant, like you can walk right into it and see it. And Karen, I hope they take her. They got her picture on the news, but I hope they just keep on showing everything. They even got it on Facebook. All these Karens out here. Stop it. Solomon, have a blessed, prosperous New Year. 12 o'clock coming, I'm going to be on my knees praying.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
Sugar Lady said hey.
Tell her I said hey, and thank you so much, Diane, for your call this morning on WURD Radio. We certainly appreciate it. In just a minute, we're going to be talking about what's going on politically right now with Jay McCalla, because there's some foolery going on in Washington, D.C. and beyond. I am Solomon Jones. This is WURD. We'll be right back.
Now, a word weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
Rain this morning and breezy, too. What we don't have is any cold air just yet. The temperatures will be falling during the day. Rain tapers off late this afternoon, and by that time, we'll be in the low 40s. Cooling down into the 30s as we ring in the new year at midnight under partly cloudy skies. Dry overnight, but the rain returns on New Year's Day. Steady rain developing Friday afternoon, 39 degrees, and the rain continues Friday night. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley with your most accurate forecast. Count on it.
Now, a traffic update
on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report's sponsored by Staples Store. Still pretty quiet here this Thursday morning throughout the Philadelphia area. Schuylkill Expressway still looking good both east and westbound. Nice and light. I-95 southbound northeast down through the Vine Expressway. No problems there. Vine Expressway looking good through Center City, Philadelphia. Mount Laurel 38 both ways at Larchmont Boulevard. Restrictions there. Pretty serious accidents still being worked on. Staples has everything you need to start the year right with amazing prices on great tech. Now at Staples PC clearance event, save up to $180 on select Lenovo PCs like the Flex 2-in-1 laptop with Intel i5 processor. Offer ends 1/2/21 while supplies last. Staples. For more traffic information, log on to SIGAlert.com. I'm Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
This message is from the Philadelphia Department of Public Health. COVID-19 is still a threat in our communities, but we can all do something simple to help stop the spread. It's critically important to wear a mask or face covering whenever you're in public or around others. Yes, even while social distancing. Wearing a mask shows you care for yourself and your community and is essential to slowing the spread of COVID-19. So love yourself, love your neighbors, wear a mask.
JD's Auto Body and Painting is hiring talent for the following positions. Assembler, preferably 2 to 3 years experience, able to tear down and reassemble all make and model cars. Painter, must have at least 5 years overall painting experience, including experience in water-based paint and able to prep cars for paint jobs. Auto Body Technician, looking for an A or B technician, must have at least 5 years experience repairing cars. Please send your resume to JD's Auto Body and Painting at Comcast.net. That's JDS Auto Body and Painting at Comcast.net or call 215-848-5949 for more details. JD's Auto Body and Painting is an equal opportunity employer.
This WURD Kwanzaa vignette is brought to you by Pico, Keystone Plus, and JD's Auto Body and Painting. Habari Gani from WURD Radio. The 7 days of Kwanzaa are dedicated to the Nguzo Saba, or the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. Today is the 6th day of Kwanzaa, Kuumba, or creativity. Let's use today to beautify our communities, celebrate the arts, and use our gifts to create. Today is a great day to visit a museum virtually as a family, create or refresh home art, and support local artists. Challenge your family to create and use their talents in any medium and without boundaries. Then have an online talent show or virtual showcase with friends and family that you've been social distanced from. For more information about Kwanzaa, visit wordradio.com. This WURD Kwanzaa vignette was brought to you by Pico, powering communities, Keystone Plus, and JD's Auto Body and Painting for all your auto body and detailing needs during this holiday season.
Want the latest in WURD swag?
Check out the shop tab on wordradio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on wordradio.com. Show the world that you're all about black.
Talk media.
Back by popular demand. It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
cried, his voice quivered. Nobody repents better than a politician who's been caught. I think basically they're just annoyed that they didn't say it first. I sat down on the train. Next thing I know, I'm standing here in the lobby of the Trump Plaza.
How did I get here?
I don't know. Clearly there was an endorsement that was going to happen that day.
And now, Jay McCallum, only on Wake Up with Word.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. Joining us now, Jay McCallum. He held senior positions in both the Rendell and Street administrations. His work has been published in the Philadelphia Inquirer, Philadelphia Magazine, and the Chestnut Hill Local. He brings deep knowledge to politics and does so from an African-American perspective. Jay, good morning.
Good morning to you, brother. How you feeling?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm great. Good night's sleep, and it's not raining hard. Maybe just light drizzle, so I'm good. I'm very good.
Yeah, well, that's great, man, because politics is still crazy, Jay. So
it was born that way.
It really was, man, and it hasn't changed at all. Let's talk about Donald Trump, because he's making plans to come back to Washington to help stoke the confusion his minions plan to create on January 6th. That's the day that Congress will confirm Joe Biden's victory in the presidential elections. Republicans are trying to throw out the votes of the electors in the key states that Trump lost. What are your thoughts?
Man, oh man, only in the states he lost, huh? How about that? Look, you can check every page of American history and not find anything like what this megalomaniacal penguin is trying to pull. You know? FDR imprisoned every Japanese American. George Washington owned slaves. But nothing compares to Trump's blatant, extremely public attempt to gaslight the American people and steal an election he lost by over 7 million votes. He alleged widespread cheating and filed over 40 lawsuits that got laughed out of court. He tried to corrupt the members of the Electoral College. Now he's trying to throw a monkey wrench into the congressional vote that certifies the election. It's just a formality, but he's trying to screw that up.
Yeah.
All the while, his Twitter feed has been full of loony claims of fraud and theft, and he looks like a madman on Twitter. In the meantime, we still don't have enough COVID tests. You know, he promised that 20 million Americans would be vaccinated by today, and only 2 million have been treated. An important American city was bombed on Christmas morning. But the only thing he cares about is his own wide orange bahootney. I'm sorry. He's desperate and he's vicious. What's amazing is almost the entire Republican Party is afraid to call his cuckoo cuckoo. He's crazy and they're afraid to say so. No election is perfectly clean, you know. Reagan stole Jimmy Carter's briefing book for their presidential debate, and it's pretty well documented that JFK had mafia help in winning the West Virginia primary. You know, that's the way it goes. Little dirt here, little dirt there. But nobody has ever turned this country upside down, told every dirty lie, and tried to nullify the legally cast votes of African-American cities and 80 million other Americans who soundly rejected him.
Yeah.
It's like we're a pretty woman at a party and some drunk is trying to force himself on us. This is ugly, but this is his style. He's dirty, and there are dozens of women who will swear he sexually assaulted them. This is his style. His own lawyer accuses him of insurance fraud, cheating on his taxes, and paying off porn stars. For a guy who wants to seem so very classy, he's just an animal who pursues his animalistic impulses. Plenty of Republicans still want to stay on his good side, but they forget that he doesn't have a good side. You know, Mitch McConnell rigged his impeachment trial, and a nasty, ungrateful Trump still trashed him for recognizing that Biden won the election. Attorney General Bill Barr followed Trump around with a little pooper scooper, cleaning up every time Trump soiled his pants. But didn't he get fired last week?
Yeah.
But there's something very satisfying about watching Trump squirm, scream, and crawl on his belly like a reptile. He knows it was the votes of Atlanta, Philly, Detroit, and Milwaukee that did him in. Black voters plus a huge turnout of Native Americans in Arizona put nails in his dirty little coffin. Solomon, it's all over but the shouting, but believe me, there will be lots of shouting. As Shakespeare wrote, it's full of sound and fury, signifying absolutely nothing.
Yeah. This whole thing, man, is absolutely insane, Jay. As I watch this thing play out, and I watch him, pull people into his foolishness, man, and corruption. It is so interesting to watch it, man. Like, you see people who you thought were normal, engaging in this foolishness, Jay. It's crazy, man. I've never seen anything like it. You're right.
Yeah, they walk around looking like normal people, wearing suits and their neckties are nice and tight, with a nice knot, but they're crazy.
Yep.
They act human, they act normal, but when they get around him, they become spineless suck-ups. And I just don't understand it. I mean, I don't understand how a grown man or a grown woman, with self-respect and family that looks up to them, can get into the political arena and just act like hyenas, on behalf of the chief hyena. I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And, Mitch McConnell has helped him every step of the way. And you're right. As soon as Mitch McConnell didn't do one thing he wanted, he attacks. And so, I don't see why people feel like they have to have loyalty to somebody who has no loyalty to them. Maybe you can explain it.
No. There's something about the big man theory. Like when Jimmy Hoffa ran the labor union, he had a lot of toadies, and there's this big fella in the local labor movement who runs the building trades. He's the big figure, and so many people want to be up under him. Rizzo had a lot of people like that. They wanted to be around the big man. They didn't care about his character. They just cared about, hey, this is a big, powerful guy, and I just want to get some of his glory. Very unmanly stuff, very weak, spineless stuff. Be the guy. You be the leader. Don't be the guy who carries the briefcase for the leader. We're all God's children. You don't sit up under any man. But that's who they are. They tell their constituents when they're running for election how strong and independent they are. But then when push comes to shove, they bow and scrape in front of the dictator. And it's just a crime.
Yeah. It's sad to watch. So speaking of the people who follow Trump around, let's talk about Mitch McConnell and the Senate, because the Senate will not have a vote on $2,000 checks for every American because Mitch McConnell is holding it up by attaching two other measures to the legislation. First, he wants to attach legislation removing protections for social media companies. He also wants to attach something calling for an investigation of the presidential election, all because Donald Trump said so. What do you think, Jay?
Man, this is a political disgrace, and it's a disgrace of our system. And the disgrace is that Americans have been reduced to fighting over $600 checks versus $2,000 checks.
I know.
The fact is, it's all chicken feed. Plenty of governments are giving their unemployed $2,000 every single month.
Yep.
And now Trump and McConnell are holding even the measly $2,000 hostage until his corrupt little conditions are met. And this is the difference between Democrats and Republicans. Democrats could easily have gotten more than $2,000 if they had held that $740 billion defense bill hostage. But Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer don't have that kind of guts. Democrats always bring a stick of butter to a knife fight. So help for the good men and women in food lines who face eviction notices had this teeny-weeny bit of help tied up on some petty Washington nonsense. The sad thing is that everything rests in the hands of the coldest, meanest snake in Congress, Mitch McConnell. This isn't what Trump wants or what Nancy Pelosi wants. It's not about either of those guys. This deal is all about Mitch, and nobody knows what special kind of evil is going to motivate him. We already know he doesn't want to give the $2,000. He's on record with that. And the other items, the removal of immunity for social media companies and an investigation of the election, those are what Trump wants. there's nothing in this bill that Mitch cares about. So if I had to guess, I'd guess this entire bill will fail, and struggling Americans will get a one-time check for $600, which doesn't even pay 1 month's rent anywhere in the United States. We're in this spot because Republicans fight against us, and Democrats won't fight for us. Solomon, more than half the Congress is millionaires, and they don't know a darn thing about hunger, or not having a good warm winter coat, or not being able to afford a pair of gloves. Brother, things have to change. They just got to change.
They really do. They really do, man. And you know, I watch these people, man, claim that people who really need help are trying to somehow game the system. That people who really need help are somehow asking for a handout. Meanwhile, Boeing gets $14 billion in state and local tax breaks. You know, they get $70 billion in federal loans. Like, you know, and you can't give a regular American $2,000. You know, there's something wrong with that, man. There's something seriously wrong with that, Jay.
It's amazing how much contempt Republicans have for the poor. You know, they're the ones that came up with the idea of drug testing welfare recipients. You know, and one state adopted it. They didn't find anybody using drugs. I mean, if you're broke, you cannot afford drugs. You know, and most people aren't willing to enter into a life of crime just to afford their habit. That's most people. Everybody knows it's the upper classes. You know, Wall Street is rife with stories about cocaine and all that kind of thing. So it's the rich who abuse drugs. Marijuana is right across the board racially, but they want to drug test the poor. And they always want to demean the poor. They think somehow we don't work hard enough, or that God doesn't favor us, or something. But they just have a contempt for the poor. And that's an awful thing to have in a nation where there are so many poor people.
Yeah. And so, you know, attaching these two other things is really, I think you call that a poison pill. You put that into legislation, and then, you know, it doesn't pass because you've got all this other stuff in it that has nothing to do with the thing that people want to vote for. But the protections for the social media companies. So Donald Trump is mad because the social media companies are now flagging his lies that he posts on their platforms, and they're just not letting him do that anymore. That's what I think, Jay. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. And again, this is him being ungrateful. Twitter has been a big help to his career as a politician. He's been tweeting crazy stuff here and nasty lies there.
Yeah.
And for years, they let him get away with that stuff. You know, the Sleepy Joe and Crooked Hillary. They let him get away with that. But, you know, the clouds are parting. Some sunshine is coming through. And people like Twitter are wising up just a little bit. They're coming out from under the spell of Trump. And they can't handle it. I mean, talk about the line from the movie, "You Can't Handle the Truth." Trump is the man who cannot handle the truth. So he's turning on them after they've served his career so beautifully and sat on, you know, they should have been flagging his tweets 3 years ago, you know.
Yeah.
But they held off because he's president. And now the little ungrateful snot is trying to nail them to the wall. He's just predictable. He's just predictable.
Yeah, the same thing happened with TikTok. Now, TikTok is a Chinese-owned company, right? But very popular app, especially among young people. They make these little videos and they share them on TikTok. Well, when he wanted to have one of his super spreader events, right? And the people on TikTok said, well, let's buy up all the tickets and act like we coming and not show up. And his event was ruined. Well, that's when he wanted to force TikTok to sell to an American company. You remember that?
Oh yeah, he said, and everybody, you know, I like TikTok. I follow TikTok. You can find Christian videos. You can find any kind of little 1-minute video you want on there, and they're funny sometimes. But I remember that weekend where, you know, the left-wing TikTokers ruined his event by sending in ticket reservations that they never fulfilled. And so everything that Trump does is about petty revenge. He never, we all in life have to laugh something off. Whatever, maybe we step in a puddle of mud. Nothing you can do. You just got to laugh it off. Trump doesn't laugh anything off. I don't even think he has a sense of humor. I've never seen him or heard him say anything remotely funny. He just, everything that happens to him cuts him to his core. And he's tremendously insecure, tremendously weak inside. And yeah, everything is about, you hit me, I hit you back 10 times harder because I'm as scared can be.
Yeah, let's go to break. And on the other side, we're going to talk about the January 5th runoff election that's taking place in Georgia, and also what's happening locally around gun crime. I'm Solomon Jones. He's Jay McCallus. Blackball Politics. We'll be right back.
Now, a word weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
Rain this morning and breezy, too. What we don't have is any cold air just yet. The temperatures will be falling during the day. Rain tapers off late this afternoon, and by that time, we'll be in the low 40s. Cooling down into the 30s as we ring in the new year at midnight under partly cloudy skies. Dry overnight, but the rain returns on New Year's Day. Steady rain developing Friday afternoon, 39 degrees, and the rain continues Friday night. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley with your most accurate forecast. Count on it.
Now, a traffic update
on WURD Radio.
Good morning. Still not too bad here in Philadelphia as we move on this Thursday morning. 95 still a pretty good ride from the northeast down through the Vine Expressway. The Vine is south through Center City in pretty good shape. Schuylkill Expressway westbound University through 30th. Could find some slowing through that work zone. PA Turnpike, Blue Route 476 still looking good this morning. 42, 55, 295 in New Jersey also in pretty good shape there. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. I'm Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Black lives have always mattered at WURD Radio, one of the only Black-owned talk radio stations left in the country. For the new onWURD podcast, join me, Sarah Lomax Reese, as I host a special 4-part series, 2020 in Black. From the pandemic to the global protests against systemic racism to the 2020 election, onWURD celebrates the full humanity and complexity of Black people in this pivotal year. Listen today using your favorite podcast service or visit wordradio.com/2020 in Black. You can also ask your favorite device to play onWURD 2020 in Black. Check us out.
Tune in every Saturday at 6 p.m. to Recovery Talk 101 with your host, Rick Ford, talking about addiction, treatment, and recovery. Right here on WURD Radio. Monday through Thursday, keep it locked to WURD Radio. At 6 a.m., start your day with the Power Hour, hosted by Bishop Dwayne Royster and Reverend Mark Kelly Tyler. At 7, it's Wake Up with WURD with Solomon Jones. At 10 a.m., it's Reality Check with Charles Ellison. Then at 1 p.m., it's The Source, hosted by Andrea Lawful Sanders on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and the Black Women's Leadership Council on Wednesdays. At 4 p.m., it's Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Then at 7, it's Save Space with Sincerely Sarita. At 9 p.m., round up your day with Keeping It Real with the Reverend Al Sharpton. Keep your dial locked to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Streaming live on wordradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Or watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube. WURD Radio. Independent Black Media.
Back by popular demand.
It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on WURD Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM WURD. I'm going to welcome you back to Wake Up with WURD. And, of course, we're talking with Jay McCallus. He held senior positions in both the Rendell and Street administrations. His work has been published widely. He brings deep knowledge to politics and does so from an African-American perspective. So, Jay, let's talk about this January 5th runoff election that's taking place in Georgia next week. The Senate hangs in the balance. If the two Democrats win, Joe Biden will be able to carry out his agenda without obstruction. But if even one of them loses, Mitch McConnell will be able to block Biden's agenda just like he's blocking those $2,000 stimulus checks. What's your take?
Yeah, this is a scary moment right now. It's kind of tense. For Joe Biden and the American people, the Georgia runoff is absolutely everything. We've got to unplug Mitch McConnell. Of the poorest 25 counties in this country, 10 are in Mitch McConnell's home state of Kentucky. There was a time when politicians enjoyed bringing home the bacon to their constituents, but McConnell eats all the bacon in the back of his limousine. Nobody even gets to smell it frying in the pan. He doesn't pass any of the goodies on to the people who struggle and vote for him in Kentucky. His only concern is putting racist judges on the federal bench. If we lose Georgia, he's going to continue to turn the clock back to the 1800s, just before the Civil War. With Mitch out of the way, it won't all be sunshine and lollipops, but we can take some big steps. Congress could admit Puerto Rico to the Union and give statehood to the District of Columbia. If we do that, Democrats will pick up 4 extra Senate seats, and then we can rock and roll for decades. Republicans won't be able to catch up with us. We'll control the Senate for an awfully long time. Biden is an aging moderate, but he has committed to free community college and free attendance at public universities. Now, that's a golden ticket to the middle class for millions of smart, talented black and brown kids who can't otherwise afford to go. You shouldn't have to join the military just to get an education.
Yeah.
With Mitch McConnell standing in the way, there will never be another new Voting Rights Act that punishes states for closing polling places and purging blacks from the voter rolls. That kind of thing used to trigger the intervention of the federal government under the Voting Rights Act passed under Lyndon Johnson, but the Republican Supreme Court gutted it. It's a darn shame that so much rides on this election, but that's the way it is.
Yeah.
But I've got hope. So far, through early voting, 2.5 million votes have already been cast. And I'm believing most of those were Democrats, black folks specifically. A lot is riding on this, and I would help. It would help really if folks in Philly Googled the Ossoff and Warnock websites and donated $10 or $15 to each campaign. Money talks, and money, 10 or $15 in large numbers, talks pretty good.
Yeah.
Solomon, I don't believe in crossing my fingers. I don't. But I will pray that justice be done and evil be defeated in January down there in Georgia, because we need it, and so much rests on it.
Yeah, I agree. A lot rests on it. I think that if you have, Mitch McConnell standing there and trying to obstruct everything, man, it just, it slows things down to the point where we're crawling. And right now we need to be flying. We have dealt with, a racist, chaotic, and incompetent presidency for the last 4 years. And I don't think I'm overstating it by saying those things. And we need to move forward. We need to undo the damage, man. This dude has damaged American institutions to the point where the world is looking at us like, what is wrong with y'all? And so to have Mitch McConnell still be the majority leader in the Senate and control what bills come to the floor. See, what people don't understand, if whoever is in the majority decides what legislation even comes up for a vote, if they don't want it to come up for a vote, it won't come up for a vote. So let alone, pass it, it will never come to the floor to even be voted on. And that's the power that Mitch McConnell has, and he's used it and done great damage with it. He needs to be gone, man. And so that's the importance of Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock winning in Georgia.
I agree. The House of Representatives in the last year or so has been passing all kinds of progressive legislation, but when they pass it in the House, then it's got to be considered in the Senate. And Mitch McConnell says, as you just pointed out, we're not even going to talk about it.
That's right.
We're not even going to get a whiff of what that bill smells like. You know, it's like we have only one house of the Congress with all the power. And that's the problem. And we need, as black folks and decent white folks, we need to make Mitch McConnell pay a price. He stole an appointment to the United States Supreme Court from President Barack Obama, who had a year left on his term, maybe more than a year left on his term, and had every right to fill that position with Merrick Garland. McConnell said no. He didn't go on to explain, but I'll explain for him. No, I'm too racist and power crazy to let this black man get in the way of a conservative Republican agenda, even though he's got every legal right. You know, legality means nothing to Mitch McConnell. Putting the screws to the opposition, or in his mind, the enemy. You know, he sees Democrats as the enemy. And we need to make him pay a price because he's also our enemy as African Americans.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, the number that you quoted a little bit earlier about 10 of the poorest counties in America being in Kentucky. Of course, your man, Bernie Sanders, said that on the floor of the Senate. And I was proud that he said it, man, because, you know, Mitch McConnell is not just hurting, you know, people, you know, in Philadelphia or in New York or in places that he really, you know, doesn't represent, doesn't understand. He's hurting people in his own state, man, where he comes from. Poor people in Kentucky. I mean, dirt poor, man. The poorest places in the country are in the state that he represents, and he's trying to stop people from getting money. It's unbelievable, Jay.
And I bet you $50 he'd call himself a Christian, you know?
Yeah.
But he doesn't know what it's like to wake up in the morning and know that you got only $5, $6, or $7 lying on the dresser. You know, that if you, as in Philly, a lot of folks, if you lose your trans pass in the middle of the month, you're just out of luck because you budgeted tight. These people don't understand that. They act as though if you aren't them, you aren't entitled to eat. If you aren't them, you're not entitled to have decent clothing and transportation, or to be able to turn the heat up to take the chill off your bones. You know, they just don't believe that poor folks are worth a dime, and they're just horrible people. I hate to just boil it down to that because anybody could come up with that, but they're just horrible people.
Yeah, it's a shame, man. You know, looking at regular Americans like somehow they are looking for a handout. When no, we're just looking for some of our money back. The money that you collect from us, that's our money. You know what I mean? Like, it's not yours. You acting like we taking something out of your pocket, and you know, it's just something has to be done. And so those races in Georgia, those races are critical to the future of this country. But let's talk about what's happening locally, because here in Philadelphia, police and politicians are attacking Larry Krasner and saying that the increase in gun violence is his fault because he's not getting convictions in gun cases. Krasner says he's not getting convictions because witnesses aren't showing up and evidence is thin. Who wins in this blame game, Jay?
Well, I'll tell you, the racist establishment in Philly has hated Larry Krasner ever since he campaigned with Black Lives Matters activists and members of the ex-offenders community. They've hated him since day one. They hated him even more when he banned cops from testifying who have a history of lying under oath. That really blew their minds because cops are supposed to be able to just lie under oath with impunity, according to them. Krasner focuses on justice, and he even has a unit in his office that focuses on overturning wrongful convictions. We saw the fruit of his work this week. I like Krasner, but I think his complaint that witnesses don't show up is flimsy. You know, witnesses can always be subpoenaed and compelled to appear, and he's got to do that. There's no more excuses on that count. But the DA can only work with the evidence gathered by police, and I think that's the weak link in the chain. There have been over or almost 500 murders in this city this year, and I'm looking to see 500 arrests. But cops rarely find the shooter. They rarely do. if these murders are drug-related or gang-related or simple revenge killings, then there's a traceable connection between the shooter and the person who's been killed. We've got 600,000 cops and hundreds of detectives. What the heck do they do all day? What I reflect on is the way our cops gunned down poor Mr. Walter Wallace and how Officer Poundhall shot an unarmed black teenager in the back. I reflect on the dozens of cops who terrorized, about a dozen cops who terrorized a black woman and her child sitting in her SUV. And I recall the 350 cops who made racist posts on Facebook. This all makes me wonder if cops believe these murders are worth their time and trouble to properly investigate. John McNesby, who heads the FOP, famously called Black Lives Matter protesters, he called them rabid animals. Clearly, he's hostile to black lives, and he sets the tone for his cops. Philly cops are known to stop and frisk young black men and publicly search their underwear. And maybe that's their strong suit, 500 murders should be accompanied by 500 arrests, and that clearly ain't happening. And after a couple of years of soaring murders, we see it ain't going to happen. Our conviction, one conviction will stop one killer, but it won't change the poverty, rotten education, and lack of opportunity that creates this kind of frustration and violence. On that count, I put a lot of blame on Mayor Kenney. Since he's been mayor, he's added $1 billion to our annual spending budget, and he's increased our debt by almost another $1 billion. He's spending money like crazy, but none of it is spent to improve the condition of the desperately poor. Again, we've got 26% of our population is in deep poverty. Solomon, this tit-for-tat between Krasner and the FOP has more to do with politics than anything else. Krasner's coming up for re-election soon. But the fact is, despite our majority in this city, despite a black majority in this city, the system still doesn't value black lives. And the murder rate, the lack of convictions, the lack of arrests, the sheer lack of arrests is proving it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, about a quarter of our people live in poverty in Philadelphia. About a quarter of our citizens live in poverty. And when you put black and brown people together, they are the majority in the city. And I think that, we need justice. And I think on Krasner's part, don't blame the witnesses. You know what I mean? Because witnesses don't show up because they don't feel protected. They know that if they get shot, especially a young black man in the city of Philadelphia, that murder is not going to be solved. And so, they know it's not going to be solved. So, why would I put my life on the line for a system that doesn't protect my life? That's number one. I think for the police, they have to come up with better evidence. And I think that they have to make a better effort to make arrests in these murders. Now, certainly there are police out here who are going above and beyond, but as a system, what I see is that the system is not working to solve murders in the black community. That's what I see. And so, you got all of these cameras everywhere. You mean to tell me none of these cameras see what happens with these murders? Come on, man. Come on, bro. I mean, I don't think they're doing enough, Jay. I agree with you on that.
Well, you know what? You raise a point that I didn't even consider. Over the last couple of years under Kenney and Nutter, they've installed these cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
If you rob a bank, they got footage. If you rob a Wawa or a 7-Eleven, they got footage. You kill a black man, and they're deaf, dumb, and blind. I forgot about all the cameras they've been paying for. It's been a waste of money, these cameras. And like we saw with the bombing in Nashville on New Year's Day, they found out who did it and who his girlfriend was and his relationship with somebody in California in the entertainment industry within a day or so.
Yeah.
It's all a matter of focusing resources. They can solve any crime they want if they just focus the resources. I remember many years ago, the heir to a big publishing fortune was murdered in Center City. They drugged the sewers looking for the murder weapon. they turned the city upside down looking for the killer of this rich boy. Mm-hmm. And what would they do if a lawyer in Chestnut Hill got murdered at his house? They'd turn this town inside out to find who did it. But 500 dead bodies this year, about 400 dead bodies last year. They had the misfortune of being black. And they're not motivated to solve our poverty. They're not motivated to solve our education problems. They're not even motivated to solve the murders that have our bodies stacking up like cords of wood next to the fireplace. It seems they just don't care.
Yeah, we got to do better. We got to do better, man. That is Jay McCalla. He held senior positions in both the Rendell and Street administrations. His work has been published in the Philadelphia Inquirer, Philadelphia Magazine, and the Chestnut Hill Local. He brings deep knowledge to politics and does so from an African-American perspective. Jay, Happy New Year, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care, brother.
All right. All right. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to talk to you. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
This health and humanitarian crisis has shaken us all, as neighbors and as a nation. At Bank of America, we came together as a company and as a community with an unwavering commitment to advance racial equality and economic opportunity. We're thankful for the tireless efforts of our employees, partners, healthcare, and essential workers in the communities we serve. And we remain fully committed to the work ahead in 2021. Bank of America N.A., member FDIC, equal credit opportunity lender.
Do you want to help kids in foster care? CASA Youth Advocates is seeking volunteers of color to advocate for the youth they serve. 50% of kids in the Delaware and Chester County foster care system are children of color, yet only 9% of CASA Youth Advocate volunteers are people of color. Children in foster care greatly benefit from advocates who look like and can relate to them. They desperately need more volunteers of color. Visit delcocasa.org for more info. That's www.delcocasa.org. Tune in every Saturday at 4 p.m. for the Did You Know Show with host Bryant Green, right here on WURD 96.1 FM and 900 AM.
Livelihood, the new initiative from WURD Radio, connecting Philadelphians to jobs, entrepreneurship opportunities, small business resources, and financial literacy. Visit WURDworks.com right now and take the next step in your professional journey. Livelihood is supported by the Nightland Fest's Local News Transformation Fund, Borealis Philanthropies Racial Equity and Journalism Fund, and the Solutions Journalism Network.
It's the 6th day of Kwanzaa.
Habari gani. Today's principle is kuumba, or creativity. So light the red candle closest to the center of the Kinara and stay tuned. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Streaming live on WURDradio.com, the WURD Radio app,
or watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube.
WURD Radio, independent black media.
It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on WURD Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM WURD. And I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with WURD. We are, of course, taking your calls at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. We're talking about a number of things this morning. Just got finished a great conversation with Jay McCalla about all the political foolery going on, man, both in Washington, D.C. and beyond. And, of course, talking about our top 3 stories, which includes story number 1. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell rejected a bill to increase direct payments to $2,000, likely closing the door on any pathway to passage before the end of the Congress this weekend. And story number 2, Philadelphia DA Larry Krasner's office said Wednesday that a lack of witnesses appearing in court has been the biggest reason some illegal gun possession cases have failed to end with a conviction over the last several years, a trend some have blamed for skyrocketing gun violence in the city. And, of course, story number 3, prosecutors in New York investigating an incident in which a jazz musician said his 14-year-old son was attacked by a woman who falsely accused him of taking her iPhone. So I want to hear from you. Give me a call. 215-634-8065 is the number. Let's talk to Jacob from Olney on line 1.
Good morning. Peace be unto you, Solomon.
Good morning, Jacob. How are you?
Man, look, hey, look, the last time I talked to you probably in the new year, huh? And this old year anyway. But, Solomon, been listening. Like Ray Charles, man, I got Georgia on my mind.
Yeah, me too.
We man, I'm telling you, that he explained it. Your guest, he explained everything that we need to know. But I've been thinking. I came up. WURD is all about solutions, right? But I've come up with a solution for 45 and his 70 million of his followers, right?
Okay.
Now, with all the money that he's stealing from them, right, he can go ahead on and buy Greenland, right? And they all can go over there, and he'll probably, the Muslims, we worship Allah 5 times a day. He'll probably have them worship him 6 because, he's Trump. And they'll be happily ever after, right? Couldn't they do something like that? He wanted to buy Greenland, And with all that money that, again, they sending into him, they could solve that because here in America, this Constitution don't accommodate what they want, right? So ain't that a solution?
How about that? How about that?
Solomon, look, may the Creator bless you and your family and all of us with a better 2021 because we had to survive to get through 2020. And in a way, I hate to see it go because we learned a lot as a people coming through 2020. So I know God don't make no mistakes, and he all the time, he good, and he good all the time, right?
Yes, he is.
All
yes,
right,
he
my
is.
brother. You have
all right. All right. Thank you, Jacob. We appreciate you, and thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. If you want to get in, it's 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio, and let us know where you are on these various things we are talking about on this morning's show. Wow. So where are we? So key official Copeland says this: I believe the police know who is committing the crimes, but don't want to charge them. Too much racism has been a part of the Philadelphia police system. Wanda Unique Davis says this: that's just what Larry Krasner has been saying. They are not funding the forensics. I'm surprised that you two haven't heard the DA share or speak about that during Wake Up with Word. Tell the city to fund the forensics. I believe it's about a $5 million expense. I'm not sure. I'm sure I'm not the only one who's heard that. Greg Brinkley says, Solomon, I tried to tell you about the police and what's going on with an agreement between the FOP and a mayor that's affecting the murder rate. I wanted you to look into this with the info I have if you don't believe me. Well, Greg, email it to me and we'll see. Let's see. Who else? Julie Jones Elliott says, good morning. Happy New Year, everyone. Zen Motley says, in order to receive justice, clean out the people in government who don't serve us. Tia Hicks says, good morning and Happy New Year. Thank you so much. Happy New Year to you, too. Deborah Doran Carter says, Solomon, I believe once these senators and congressmen and women get a certain age, they should retire, maybe the age of 60. Mitch McConnell is old as alley dirt and worth $30 million. He should be the first to retire. Let someone who is younger start running for these positions in government. They can bring new ideas to the table. We need change. Dolores Davis says, that just goes to show us if you need help, it will not be done if you apply for any help. If you make a penny over the guidelines, you will not get it. We are only applying because you need help. No, you might get a little ahead. Stay struggling. I agree with your guest. He is so right. So I want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation. Let's go to Derek from North Philly on line 2. Go ahead, Derek.
Good morning, Brother Solomon. Love, peace, blessing, and prosperity to you.
Same to you.
Thank you, my brother. Solomon, I have an opinion, and I thank WURD for letting me express my opinion. I wanted to talk about with the cell phone incident.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we know that there was a situation that occurred in Central Park where this woman name was, what was her name, Amy or Karen?
I don't know what her name was.
Right,
She was the guy was bird watching, I think.
Right, exactly. You know what I'm talking about. Okay,
yes.
So he targeted him as the black man.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like that's the case. I don't know. I watched the video clip. I don't know what happened before that, but it didn't appear that she was targeting him simply because he was black in other cases. Now, I know that when I lose my phone, I'm in a panic. You know, so much of my information will be lost.
Mm-hmm.
I probably will act the same way in the sense that, wait a minute, before you go anywhere, just prove to me that you don't have my phone. Like I said, I didn't see that she was targeting him because he was black. I saw a young person that was totally chaotic because they lost their phone, and young people get that way when they lose their possessions, especially their phone. I want to see more information. I hope that in America that we're not quick to jump to racism ourselves, because Martin Luther King said black supremacy is just as dangerous as white supremacy. And we're in an environment right now whereas we are combating against each other. And I want us to continue to be humane towards each other, because we need each other in America. Blacks and whites have gotten along fine in America. It was the good white folks that allowed the Underground Railroad to take place. So I'm not saying one group is better than the other. We all fall short of being who we should be. Thank you.
Okay, well, I don't think it's saying that one group is better than the other by saying that this woman had no right to do that to that kid. And that I don't think she would have responded that way to a white person. That's just, you know, and I think most people who've seen that, you know, believe that way. But certainly, Derek, you are entitled to your opinion, and I respect it. But I disagree on this one. I think that she responded like that because they were black. So I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Maurice from Southwest is on line 1. Go ahead.
Well, Solomon, it's the end of the year, and I want to tell you, I really appreciate how you handled that phone call, because everybody's entitled to their opinion, whether we don't like it or not. You explained to him what you think, and that was the end of it. There's no animosity. It's just your opinion. So let me get to the thing. This police thing that Larry Krasner keeps talking about, people testifying. Yeah. Well, people really don't understand that when they got you out there testifying, they leaving you out on a branch, and police are not helping you. Mm-hmm. You got to go to your local district, put in a complaint, and that same person that they pulling off the street, murderer or not, is right on the other side with his people, looking right at you. Oh, that's what's calling that live on Belmar Street. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they're not helping. They got to find another way that people could testify anonymous so they don't be seen by their neighborhood. Because the police are not going to put a car outside your house.
Nope.
So, you know, all this nonsense of always blaming somebody else. Now, I'm a Larry Krasner fan, but what he said is total nonsense. I wouldn't testify, even though I have, but in the situation of a murderer and the way they're popping off people today, I wouldn't testify at all. And as far as Mitch McConnell, this is where I always tell you that Democrats fight a battle with a butter knife when the Republicans have a gun. Why aren't they running commercials showing poor white people digging in the trash can because Mitch McConnell won't give them $2,000? That should have been right all over the radio immediately when he said no. It should have been fast. Matter of fact, they should have had it ready to roll out. And this is what I'm talking about, that they all the same. They're all millionaires. It's all a class thing, and they all vacation together. So we better think about what we do. That's all I want to say.
All right, Maurice, thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Let's go to Gary from Chester on line 2. Go ahead, Gary.
Solomon Jones, thanks for taking my call. Solomon Jones, I'm wishing you and your family a happy New Year's. And
thank you, brother.
And this was a year. This was a year, Solomon. And Solomon, this definitely Philadelphia, like I said, this too shall pass. I mean, you know, we ain't gonna see this no more. This is gonna be it. You know, I mean, just the devil ran rampant. You know, I mean, Donald Trump in office. What we expect? You know what I mean? And but this FOP thing, I can't see how the union is running the police department. I understand to protect their workers, but the idea where the whole FOP, I mean, for example, they get paid, they are, to do the job. Okay, if y'all don't want to do the job, then let's just clean the whole house out. You know what I mean? Let's get detectives who are going to detect something. Let's get police who are going to be police. I'm tired of these police officers being worried about their feelings. Like, I don't understand that. You know what I mean? They're grown men. Even when this guy at 45 act like a fool, they said they was going to wait to see. Wait to see what? He's a grown man. What are we waiting for?
I hear you, man.
And like I said, the Democrat Party got to get somebody in there who's really going to run the Democratic Party and have a message. You know what I mean? Because like the way they do things in the Democrat Party, I mean, it's, you know, it's just all wrong, Solomon. It's all wrong. And Solomon, that age limit, I agree with your call about the age limit. I mean, I'm an old dude my own stuff, but you know, you can't. Come on, man, you can't stay for 75 years and 80 years. I know you're in a diaper, especially if you're white, you got a diaper on. You know what I mean? You can't stay there forever. And they shaking, they got Parkinson and everything, and they're in the pants. They still going back to Leave It to Beaver, Solomon. You know?
I hear you, man. Gary, have a happy new year, brother. I appreciate you. I will talk to you in 2021. Let's go to Donna from Mount Airy on line 3. Go ahead, Donna.
Hey, Solomon, it's Sana.
Oh, hey, Sana, how you doing? I was just looking at some of your videos on Instagram. Yo, your Jones is insane. How you doing?
Gosh, I'm good. Happy New Year to you.
Same to you.
All right, so I'm calling with my crazy story.
Okay.
Something crazy. So I was in Boscos one day trying to get some shoes, and so the black woman, she was the store manager, and she was assisted with a customer, helping her with the return. So her 2 white employees who were standing behind the counter in back of her, they were refusing to help me, and she kept asking them several times to help me, you know, get some shoes. They refused. Another customer's older white lady was walking up to the counter to pay for some shoes, and they were racing to get to her. They wouldn't have to help me. So the guy, he made it to the woman first and started wringing her out, and the girl, she got mad. And she had to help me. So she asked me what size shoe I needed. I told her my size. But at this point, I already decided I'm not getting none at the store, but I'm going to just mess with them. I made the girl go back at least 10 times, getting all kinds of shoes in different colors and sizes. And once I had a big pile in front of me, I said, you know what, I'm not going to get anything. I changed my mind. So I just got up, and as I was walking out, I started knocking down all the shoes off the shoe display. I made a big mess, and I tore up that whole shoe department and walked out.
That's right.
Yeah. She want to work today. She don't want to help me. I'm going to make her work today.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Sana, thank you for your story about being passive-aggressive. We appreciate it.
Oh, gosh.
And have a happy new year.
Same to you. Bye-bye.
All right, Sana. Thanks for your call. As always, let's go to Melissa Robbins on line 4. Go ahead, Melissa.
Good morning, Solomon. Happy New Year.
Same to you.
I don't think anybody's going to test Sana again in the future.
No, I don't think so.
So I just wanted to call and say, you know, I really appreciated the commentary from Jay McCullough this morning, giving a very, very accurate depiction of what's actually taking place. I always enjoy your conversation with him. But I want to say for people listening, local, politics is local. Not only do you have to hold all elected officials accountable, but think about it. Larry Krasner, as one of your callers said, is one of the first DAs that, you know, campaign, you know, with the Black Lives Matter movement. As long as black bodies can be controlled, as long as we can be poverty pimped out, as long as white power has, quote unquote, domain over black bodies, we're going to continue to see the outcome of no arrests made. Like you said, with all the cameras in the city, these police officers could do their job, but they make more money in overtime at protests than they make doing their actual job. Not only do people need to pay attention to ensuring that Larry Krasner gets back in, because he's the only one that wants to prosecute cops, but we better pay attention to the fact that during the last judiciary race, an entire slate of white judges went in. Again, an entire slate of white judges went in. We, black people, are 60% of the defendants that go before the judges. Just like the great state of Alabama and Texas, they sent in an entire slate of black judges. We have the power to do that. We have the power to do that, and we have the numbers. And we cannot allow our leaders to usher in another slate of white judges, therefore continuing white supremacy, white greed, white domain, and white power. And that's just the simple truth, Solomon.
Thanks, Melissa. We appreciate your call. Happy New Year. Thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. We are going to go to break, and on the other side, we're going to talk with my pastor, Reverend Dr. Larry L. Anderson, Jr. from the Great Commission Church, about some of the things that happened in 2020 and the hope for 2021. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Dietz & Watson has been making premium meats and artisan cheeses for over 80 years. And when it comes to stacking sandwiches and party platters, they've got something for everyone in the family, like maple honey turkey breast, American cheese, buffalo chicken, and more. So get to your local deli and taste 4 generations of family recipes. With Dietz & Watson on the table, you'll have everyone coming back for seconds and thirds. Dietz & Watson, it's a family thing since 1939.
I'm Councilmember Derek Green. As the holidays approach, we've all heard the news. A vaccine for COVID is coming. However, now is not the time to let our guard down. As COVID continues to spread, keep wearing your mask, practice social distancing, and avoid large get-togethers. It will take time before we all get vaccinated. Until then, keep yourself, your family, and community safe. We will get through this pandemic together. Stay safe and stop the spread.
This is not a fad for us.
We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are
undeniably,
indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media.
WURD.
You're waking up
with WURD.
Hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. Joining us now, Reverend Dr. Larry L. Anderson, Jr., Senior Pastor of Great Commission Church of Philadelphia, Professor at Biblical Theological Seminary, Director of Healthy Churches for the Baptist Resource Network, overseeing 350 churches in Pennsylvania and South Jersey. And his toughest job, he's my pastor. Pastor Anderson, how you doing?
How you doing, man? How you doing? I'm good, bro. I'm good.
I'm good too. I'm good too. So 2020 has been a crazy year. A lot of challenges, and what do you think about when you reflect on 2020?
Wow. I just think about the trauma, man, that has taken place in our world. I mean, collectively, we have all faced the same problem at the same time. The world became very small, as we all had to deal with the same issues. But at the same time, the collection of voices and a collaboration of people did blossom, man, during this time. There's been a closeness and a partnership. When I think about, the role that the Lord has played in our life over this last year, the thing would be blessed to be a blessing, just being a conduit to help others get through these difficult times.
Yeah, I think what we've seen is how fragile everything really is. You think you have your hope in your job and your possessions and that you're going to eat every day. And this pandemic proved that all of those things are very, very fragile.
Absolutely. I mean, we put our hope in some things that were not able to be sustained during this time. And I know people who are so busy and their life has been so wrapped up in so many things that they thought was important. When all of that gets snatched away from you, you begin to look at the people in your house and try to figure out, do you even like them anymore? Because you haven't had a chance to spend no time with them or see them. But you get back to the bare basics of what is life really about? What do you really need? What is your purpose? So there has been a lot of self-reflection taking place. And because of that, there's been a lot of depression and discouragement because so many things have been taken away where people found their identity locked into.
And we've been kind of locked in the house together with folks, and that has been interesting because I think we discovered some pet peeves. Like, what, I used to think that was cute, but now I'm seeing you do it all the time, and it's not. So it's just a lot of stuff, man. So how do you get through that being locked in together and really having to relate to each other in ways that you might not have had to relate to each other before?
Well, I mean, obviously it starts with communication. You find out how deep your love actually is when you have to be around each other 24/7. You find places to hide, and to try to get some solitude and just some peace of mind. But I mean, honestly, it is if people have wasted this time and not really spent that time just loving on those who are in your household, getting to know them better, getting to ask questions and actually listen when we don't normally have time because we're always running. Getting time, I mean, I could give you a list of the 100 movies we done watched together just as a family and been able to discuss the prayers before service and things like that. So there's a lot of quality time that you get to put in to balance out that love tank. So when the pet peeves come up, you can kind of handle that.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think you definitely have to have a balance. Now, one of the things that's happened, millions of people lost their jobs this year, and you see people in food lines that have not had to do that before, not just in Philadelphia, but across the country. One of the things that Great Commission has been doing is has been trying to help with that. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, I mean, that is the real blessed to be a blessing piece because we have served thousands and thousands of meals this year, feeding families, and it hasn't cost us. And that's another thing I want to be clear about, man. It's the partnerships that we've had with Alternative Resource, with the Baptist Resource Network, with Caring Place in Allentown, with other churches, black and white alike. We've been having donations from so many places to help us provide this food weekly to serve our community and abroad. I mean, the YMCA partnered with us and gave us coats to give away to children. We had toys to give away, Trader Joe's and Panera. I mean, the partnerships have been numerous. And so people seeing, our relationship with the community, our love for the community, and because they don't have that direct relationship, they blessed us so that we could be an actual blessing to our community and abroad, man. And that has been amazing.
Yeah.
Only God. That's all I can say. Only God.
Yeah, amen. So Great Commission Church, of course, is at 2043 Eastburn Avenue in beautiful West Oak Lane. 2043 Eastburn Avenue is where Great Commission Church is. Now, we're not doing the food this weekend. It's New Year's weekend. but it'll be starting back up again next Saturday, January 9th, and I believe that happens between 12 and 2.
That is correct, between 12 and 2. You don't have to be a member of the church. You don't even have to be a member of West Oak Lane. You just got to be able to get there, and we'll do the rest.
There you go, 2043 Eastburn Avenue. That takes place beginning again on Saturday, January 9th from 12 to 2. So if you are in need of food, you could certainly go there. And our services, of course, take place on Facebook now. Talk about what that's been like.
It's been strange, but it's been strange to have empty buildings, to not be with people. We don't like to preach at people. We like to preach to people and help them where they are, get to where they need to be. But through the grace of God, technology has provided this resource of Facebook and being able to reach not just our congregation, but being able to reach the world through Facebook. Those who go to other churches, we're not trying to get you to come to ours, but they get a chance to hear another voice, to hear another message. They get to see that there's just really one church, although we're in many different places, and they get a chance to hear voices and be encouraged. So that has been a real blessing, being able to use Facebook, being able to do ministry through Zoom. It's just been a blessing, and the responses has been overwhelming, man.
Yeah, it's been deep, because I think that it has been a blessing in many ways, and not just for our church. I think for churches in general, that you've been able to reach an audience that you otherwise would not. And that creates an opportunity as far as ministry goes.
Absolutely. And I think at one point, the church is always last to get on board with so much, man. And they seen Facebook and social media and all this stuff is the devil, and how could you possibly use these things, you know? But God, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, you know. And so we have to use wisdom. We have to go to where people are. And people are on social media. People are on YouTube. People, this is where they view their content, man. And so being where they are has always been. The word tells us to go, you know, so it's always our job to go to where people are and to bring them good news, to bring them the message of hope, man, to help them get through it. So many people, man, I can't stress enough, that are dealing with so much stress, man. You know, the homicides in our city, you know, the political unrest in our city, people having to bury loved ones that they didn't get to spend their last days with because they weren't allowed in the hospital. They weren't able to celebrate their lives the way they want to because the people gone, and you only can have 10 people come. And so people dealing with grief, man. They're dealing with stress. They're dealing with so much mental pain. And this is the time for us to step up and love on people and help them heal from so many hurts that they've encountered during this year 2020.
Yeah, absolutely. You can, of course, check out Great Commission Church on Facebook at Great Commission Church Philly. The service takes place on Sundays at 11, and we're going to be doing a watch night service tonight, right?
Yeah, we're going to be on from 8 to 9:30 with some scriptures, man, and just be doing some testimonies and celebrating. There's another little special surprise going to happen. I'm going to hold that back. But, yeah, we're going to have a good time tonight, man, between 8 and 9:30, so I can leave people alone at 12 o'clock.
All right. So that is on Facebook at Great Commission Church Philly. And, of course, you can check out the website, greatcommissionchurchonline.com. That's where you can check us out on online. Now, talk about 2021, because 2020 has been challenging, but we're looking for some hope in 2021. What would you tell people?
Well, as one of the things that I'm looking to do is something called the Black and the Blue, and to begin building a bridge of reconciliation between the community and those that are paid to actually protect and serve them. Looking for some more outlets for our children, community-wide, VBS, things like that, where they can get out. They've been locked in. They've been looking at computer screens, have not been with their friends. You know, my daughter is killing me on her desire to go to the mall and to hang out, which she can't do. And so I really want to see how we can bring about a level of normalcy for them and fellowship. We have returning citizens, man, that you know, they was locked up. They come home, society locked them out, and then the COVID locked them in, and so they're on house arrest, man. And so loving on them, talking to them, encouraging them during this time has really been a challenge. And then as that grief ministry, we as a people don't seem to respect mental health enough, and we really need to be able to say, hey, man, I'm stressed, I'm depressed, and that don't mean you're not saved and blessed, you know, but I'm stressed and I'm depressed, I'm discouraged. I need to be encouraged. I'm dealing with some real doubt, some despair. You seeing suicide go up, you know, drug addiction go up, divorces go up. People are broken, man, and they really need healing. And so stressing the need to get and seek that mental health help that one need, you know, whether or not it's at a lay level, we do it for free, or whether or not you need to see a professional counselor, you know, look at your insurance. But I'm looking to see people get healed. Healing needs to take place in 2021.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, tell people one more time where they can get in touch with Great Commission Church.
You can get with Great Commission Church online. .com is where we are. Obviously, we're on Facebook at Great Commission Church Philly. You can contact us, leave us a message. We will love on you. You do not have to be a member of our church to receive our love.
All right. That is Reverend Dr. Larry L. Anderson, Jr. He is Senior Pastor of Great Commission Church of Philadelphia, Professor at Biblical Theological Seminary, and Director of Healthy Churches for the Baptist Resource Network. And, of course, he is my pastor. Pastor Anderson, Happy New Year. I'll see you this evening.
Happy New Year, my friend. See you then.
All right. All right. So I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. As you enter into the new year, you know, what is your hope? What are the things that you are looking to do? What are the goals that you have set for yourself? I always joke that I don't make resolutions. My only resolution is not to make a resolution because I know I'm going to break it. So, but this year I do. I have some goals. I have some things that I would like to do. I have some things that I would like to achieve. I have some things that I'm working on right now, because here's the thing that I think we have to realize is that when you set goals for yourself, those goals are achieved in stages. Those goals take steps to get to. Those goals take a while to achieve. It's not like, you know, things are going to be instant. And certainly we have hope for the new year. You know, I have hope in my faith, in the Lord, and hope in my community and in my family and in my people. I have hope for all of those things, right? But I know that when I set goals that I have to work toward those goals, right? And so one of my goals is to have my next book come out next year. And really, I have a contract and a deadline, so I got to do it, right? But what that takes is some work, and it takes input over time. Like, it's not just instant. You don't just, okay, well, I want to do so and so, and you don't want to put any work into it. You don't want to take any steps to get to it, and that's not really how real life works. And so, what are your goals? What are you looking at doing in the new year, as we move forward, man, and put some of the trauma, right, of 2020 behind? So that's my question. But I think the other thing is this, and I think my pastor was right about this. We've learned some lessons through this year, and we've been able to, you know, learn some things and grow from some things this year. There's some things that are challenging that we still have to deal with. I know I do on a personal level, but I think that we have just learned some things, man, about ourselves and about the fragility of these systems that we live and work in. And we need to take those lessons moving forward, and maybe it'll help us to be better prepared for the next time that calamity strikes. So I'm going to go to the phone lines. Let's talk to Tony from North Philly on line 1. Go ahead, Tony.
All right. Good morning, Solomon.
Hey, brother.
First of all, brother, Happy New Year and good health to you and all the WURD listeners.
Same to you.
When Donald Trump, that $2,000, when he got in the way with that talking that 2,000, he never intended for nobody to get it. That
okay.
Let Mitch off the hook so they could go home for that holiday without passing that Senate bill. Because look what happened. It's just how they planned it to do. We still no place. And as far as, you know, I just was thinking, you know, if a DNA can convict a criminal or exonerate him, why can't a witness's DNA testify against a criminal's DNA?
I don't understand what you mean.
You know what I mean? Like if I'm a witness, and you know how they say your witness have to face the accuser, right? Why can't my DNA face the accuser's DNA? You know, to see if he's guilty of a crime. You know, if it can exonerate a person or convict them, why can't you use the DNA to witness against another DNA? You know what I mean? We got to do something, man, so these criminals will know that they won't get away scot-free, but they're going to be held accountable to some kind of degree, you know, of their crimes.
Well, I think and I'm trying to understand what you're talking about. I think the only way that you could have DNA determine a person's guilt or innocence, you have to have the victim's DNA, not a witness's DNA.
No, but a witness could say, okay, say I'm going to testify against a guy, but I'm afraid that they're going to know me and take care, do my family, and do me. So I'm going to take my DNA and say, yeah, that's him. Now use my DNA against his DNA because his DNA says that he is who he is, and testify against his DNA.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. I can't picture what you're talking about, but I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to continue to take your calls right here on WURD.
This message is from the Philadelphia Department of Public Health. COVID-19 is still a threat in our communities, but we can all do something simple to help stop the spread. It's critically important to wear a mask or face covering whenever you're in public or around others. Yes, even while social distancing. Wearing a mask shows you care for yourself and your community and is essential to slowing the spread of COVID-19. So love yourself, love your neighbors, wear a mask.
Leo's Men's and Boys Apparel wishes to extend a happy and healthy holiday season to you and your family. Leo's is running a special holiday sale and is open from Monday to Saturday from 9:30 to 5:30 p.m. and 11 a.m. to 4 on Sunday. Mention WURD Radio for a 20% special discount. Check out our sweater suit sets. Leo's offers fresh styles and extensive selection for shoes, hats, gifts, and accessories. Buy one suit and get the second one half off. Leo's is located at 2705 Germantown Avenue in North Philadelphia.
Tune in this Sunday at 4 p.m. for the show Money Matters, providing information and understanding about accumulating, preserving, and transferring your wealth with host Walter Watson.
This WURD Kwanzaa vignette is brought to you by Pico, Keystone Plus, and JD's Auto Body and Painting. Habari Gani from WURD Radio. The 7 days of Kwanzaa are dedicated to the Nguzo Saba, or the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. Today is the 6th day of Kwanzaa, Kuumba, or creativity. Let's use today to beautify our communities, celebrate the arts, and use our gifts to create. Today is a great day to visit a museum virtually as a family, create or refresh home art, and support local artists. Challenge your family to create and use their talents in any medium and without boundaries. Then have an online talent show or virtual showcase with friends and family that you've been social distanced from. For more information about Kwanzaa, visit wordradio.com. This WURD Kwanzaa vignette was brought to you by Pico, powering communities, Keystone Plus, and JD's Auto Body and Painting for all your auto body and detailing needs during this holiday season.
The WURD Radio newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected.
Sign up by visiting wordradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on WURD Radio, messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese, exclusive articles and multimedia content, and resources.
Stay informed
with the WURD Radio newsletter.
Back by popular demand.
It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on WURD Radio. And we're taking your calls at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. that is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. So I'm getting text messages, people trying to clear up what our last caller was trying to say. I was trying to understand. I really couldn't. So Cheryl McFadden says the last caller might have been trying to say use DNA to confirm or validate the testimony of a witness in lieu of testifying in public. Maybe. You know, I really don't know. I know that the way that DNA is used in solving crimes is this, that say somebody killed someone, right? And there was a struggle, and they find skin samples or hair samples from the perpetrator on the victim. Well, you can use those hair samples or skin samples, you know, in order to determine the identity of the person who killed them, right? If there was a rape, you can use DNA from, you know, that person's bodily fluids in order to determine who that person is. Witnesses, given that they don't actually touch the victim normally, I just don't know how that works. So, Cheryl, maybe that's it. And I want to thank you for sending that to me. But I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Stanley from North Philly's on line 1. Go ahead, Stanley.
Solomon, how you doing, my brother?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. Thank the Creator for another day, man. I wish you and your family the best in the upcoming year, and also the WURD audience.
Thank you. Same to you and yours.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, as a family member who was murdered, my son, I feel like what Larry Krasner and some of the politicians are doing are giving us a double victimization when they put the onus on us to be able to solve the murder of our loved ones. It's one thing to have a loved one murdered. It's another thing for the police commissioner and all these other entities to say, and Larry Krasner and the mayor and them say, the onus is on us because we're not giving up information.
Right.
And I can tell you
Right.
from my own personal experience, that's not what's happening. I can tell you from my own personal experience, the police department of Philadelphia is negligent when it comes to solving black murders. They give you excuses, and here's a piece that's not talked about. The Philadelphia Police Department have a $770 million budget. I might have X amount of dollars. Your budget is bigger than I can ever do. You should have the ability, and you pay to protect and serve. And now you passing that onus on to the very people who are suffering from the murder of their loved ones and telling us they can't do their job because we're not giving them information. That doesn't make sense, Solomon. You know what I mean? Here you gotta if that's the case, if you can't do your job, you should find someone within that industry that know how to do the job. Don't put the onus back on the victim families to do what we're paying you to do. I hope that makes sense, Alan.
No, it makes perfect sense, man. And you know, this is what bothers me about the whole thing. That everybody is pointing fingers at everybody else. That's what bothers me about all of it. The other thing that bothers me is that I have watched as police officers' children have been murdered, and they have found the perpetrator in days.
Correct.
And yet, you know, with hundreds of murders in our community, they remain unsolved. And the only thing that I can think of is that you didn't pursue justice with the same vigor in our cases that you did in yours. That's a problem.
Solomon,
that's a problem.
We have the Family of Unsolved Murders Projects, right? If you go in the room with us and you hear the treatment that these black family members are getting from the homicide detectives, it's unbelievable. Won't turn calls. Treat them like they're a piece of S when they do communicate with them, and give them multiple excuses. And these people are hurting, Solomon. When they go to the police with information, it's not vetted, and then they argue. But I had one time, they're arguing at a brother for bringing them information. You're giving me too much work to do. So the whole story is not being told, and that's the problem, Solomon.
Yeah, it is absolutely a problem, but we're going to work on that, Brother Stanley, in 2021. I want to thank you for calling me, man. I'm going to reach out to you a little bit later on, but I thank you for calling me and saying that, because I think that is the side that needs to be heard, so thank you. Let's go to Sister Murray in Northern Liberties on line 2. Go ahead, Sister Murray.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
This is the day, WRD listeners, that we've been waiting for, New Year's Eve. We are all about to walk into 2021.
Yep.
God bless. Solomon, I hear you when you say you have to work hard and set goals, and I was in my 20s, and I was ambitious and ready to take on the world and had my goals set. I was determined to get my house built by 20-something. I was going to retire by 40. And on my journey, which we all have, I lost my mother. The greatest love of all, I lost my mother on Thanksgiving morning. And Solomon, but I worked very hard, and I fought through all adversities, but God sent me an angel, my husband. Let me tell you, what the world needs now is love, sweet love. Solomon, everyone has a journey. Never give up your goals. And through all of that, I did. My mom did see me get married before she passed, but she never saw me get my first house built in my 20s. She didn't see me go over all of my different careers and adventures, but my husband and my beautiful son was right by my side. I had God. I didn't give up. I'm waiting for my new book to come out next year, hopefully in January. And let me tell you, the whole world, don't give up. I don't care what you're going through. Don't give up.
Yep, absolutely. And thank you, Sister Murray. And please tell your husband I said Happy New Year. We certainly appreciate you. And thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. If you want to get in, it's 215-634-8065. Let's go to Greg from East Falls on line 1. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, how you doing there, Solomon?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. Happy New Year to you. I'm sorry.
Same to you.
Yeah. I want to piggyback on Stanley. Stanley is hitting that. It's hitting what I said to you. I will contact you and give you specifics of what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And people are looking at the police. The one thing about the homicide detectives, they're some of the smartest people that they have. That they really are trained. If a cop was shot, and you know this, they'll have that suspect in 2 days.
Yep.
500 murders. That's not that people are not crazy. And I'm gonna give you some information that you can track. And hopefully, I'm asking Curtis Jones, if you're listening, what I'm about ready to put out comes from a very reliable source, and you can track it. And if you really want to know what the police aren't doing, because when Stanley talked about the homicide detectives, what's happening, Solomon, and I'm going to say this, and it's true. They go in, they get paid for a full day, only working 4 hours. And there's an agreement, a verbal agreement between the mayor and the FOP to look the other way. And when I'm telling Curtis Jones, since he's the head of the that police committee, you would have the subpoena power to subpoena certain things that will bear this out under oath, what I'm talking about. And when you find out what they're doing and what they're not doing, more importantly, that's definitely affecting the investigations. So people
So do their time, wait a minute. So if they're only working 4 hours, what do their timesheets say?
No, they're getting paid for a full 8.
Right, but what do their timesheets say? So are they falsifying their timesheets?
You can look at it. You can look at it that way because there's an agreement.
And how do you know that?
Well, Solomon, I'm gonna tell you off air.
All right. Okay. Well, I look forward to hearing it.
Okay.
And I want to thank you, man. I want to thank you for your call, and I look forward to receiving that information. So 215-634-8065. We got a couple of minutes left. You can give us a call, 215-634-8065, and let us know where you are on these various things we are talking about on this morning show. 215-634-8065 is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Doris Clark says, good morning, Word family. I hope everyone has a beautiful and blessed new year and a blessed 2021. Thank you for everything. And Deborah Dorn Carter says, Happy New Year to you, Solomon, and your family. Also, Word family and listeners, have a blessed and happy New Year. So Sharon Lane said McConnell didn't want to give the stimulus of 2000, so he struck Trump by attaching the voter fraud and media because he knew it would not pass. Phyllis Williams says, wishing Sarah Lomax Reese and family a blessed, healthy, happy, and prosperous New Year. May God continue to bless you. So I want to thank each and every one of you for listening today and for making 2020 such an exciting and eventful year here on Wake Up with Word. We work very hard to make sure that every day, every single day, we have information and entertainment and laughter and thought and passion for you on this show. And I want to thank you for making this show what it is in 2020. We look forward to great things in 2021. And I want to thank all of our guests who worked with us on today's show, including Reverend Dr. Larry L. Anderson Jr., and of course, attorney Kevin Mincy, and political commentator Jay McCalla. And now, for producer Jordan, sitting in for Kawesa Mathis, and everyone here at WURD Radio, I am your host, Solomon Jones, saying Happy New Year, and stay tuned for Reality Check with Charles Ellison, and tune in Monday at 7 for more Wake Up with Word. Peace.